Hello, welcome to a Witch Finger Horror Podcast, and my name is Yasmina, and to my right is Morgan.
Hello.
To my left is Megan.
Hello.
And happy Friday the 13th! Woo!
Oh!
Happy Friday the 13th! We decided to just drop this episode on y'all.
Yeah, motherfuckers!
Yeah, we decided that we should do a Friday the 13th movie on Friday the 13th. Makes sense.
Totally.
We are very smart and beautiful.
Yes, so clever we are. Smart and beautiful, yes. Very
Brains
clever.
and brawn.
That is correct. Friday the 13th on Friday the 13th. But not just any, because there are many.
Ooh.
That rhymed.
Sweet rhyme.
We are doing...
That was awesome!
We're doing number 4.
Yes.
Part 4.
Yeah.
Which was supposed to be
The last one
the
ever
last
made.
one.
Yeah.
I love how they're like, just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
Just kidding, like fucking 5 more times.
Obviously-
6 more times.
Paramount wanted more money, so I'm glad it worked out, though, because out of the series in horror, I guess, Friday the 13th is my personal favorite.
It's very
Yeah.
successful.
Oh,
Yes.
it's like one of the biggest, other than Nightmare on Elm Street, I think they like are
Should
pretty
we-
much like at equal for like popularity in mainstream.
Should we explain to our fans what the Friday the 13th franchise is? Do you think there are people out there who are unaware? I'm just
Maybe.
kidding. No. Everyone knows.
I don't know. If you don't, then why are you listening to this shit?
Yeah, I mean, it's been made into every possible form of fucking
Memorabilia.
Oh yeah, merchandise.
merchandise. They
Yeah.
merchandise the shit. So even if
Yeah.
you haven't seen, there's kids who have never seen these movies who are walking around like dressing up like Jason for
Yeah,
Halloween and shit
yeah.
like that.
Totally.
And I just love that. I
That's
think
actually
very
funny that
precious.
you mentioned that you said that, because in the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, one of the actresses explains a story where her kids are going trick-or-treating and her son has like the Jason mask, and she's like, I was in one of those movies. He's like, oh, I've never seen them, I just know who Jason is.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
like-
it's a movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a
You
figure,
just know
it's
a
like
figure.
it's
Yeah.
mythical.
Yeah.
Like Jason Voorhees has become. I mean, obviously, like he was kind of like spooky and weird in the movies or whatever. Like he became, I guess, reanimated and like he's not human anymore. In the beginning, he was.
He is eternal.
But now, like as a franchise, like his figure and the hockey mask is like it's bigger than the movies even.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
big time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His personality is bigger than the movies. And you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah, we have been drinking alcohol.
We're all drinking wine this
Nerd.
time too. Oh wait,
I've
Morgan
done my
switched to-
wine.
Oh, you
Oh, you
switched to
pussy ass
Ma! Slut! The French champagne.
beer. Mom.
Because, like, the mask is so very simple and also not part of the original plan.
No, and
Which
isn't
is
that
what
so
I love.
interesting that it
Yeah.
became so iconic, but at the same time wasn't even a part of it until, was it number 3?
Yeah, number 3. Yeah.
Like, that is an incredible thing. It's a testament to how, like, marketing of things has sort of built it to be something bigger than it originally was.
Cheapest costume.
Yeah, like a fucking hockey mask.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I love it. I personally, the reason why the Friday the 13th series is my personal favorite, and like Jason Voorhees is my favorite like killer, is because that was one of the first horror movies I watched like when I
Totally.
was a kid, and it just always resonated, that nostalgia in me. And I have Jason from Part 7 tattooed on my leg, and I'd have to say that Part 7 is my favorite because that's the first one that I saw, but Part 4 is a very, very close second.
Oh, this one, this one I would
like,
say
me
is...
and Morgan used to watch it a lot in high school, and like Part 7 is just nostalgic to me because it was the first one that I saw, but also because Kane Hodder brought a brutality to the character that was close in Part 4, but a lot of the other Jasons are very, like, not as menacing.
Right.
But the makeup job in Part 7 is just, like, mind-blowing and gross, and, like, when you see the worms on his face and everything, and Kane just brought this, like, sort of hatred to the character where he was, like, emoting. You know what I mean? And, like, a lot of the other Friday the 13th, like, he's just walking, stalking, like Michael Myers, kind of, but Part 7, he's angry as fuck. And, like, that's what was, like,
That's
so
New Blood,
fucking...
right?
Yeah, that
I love
was...
New Blood, yeah.
Oh, God, I love that one so much.
New Blood we were talking before we started this episode about how I personally wasn't attracted to these movies based on the fact that they're filmed so dark. Like, most of them are filmed so darkly.
All at night.
And because there was, like, very little dialect, and it was kind of boring and blah, blah, blah. Like, I just wasn't super drawn to them, but that is why I love New Blood, is because, like, when I saw that one, I was like, oh, I guess he's not that, like, you know, like, not that terrible to watch. And it was the same with Michael Myers movies. Like, I love when there was actually a kill, but it's like fucking 20 minutes you're sitting there, like, waiting for a kill. And when I'm a kid, I'm fucking 9 years old, my attention span is, like, nothing. So I'm waiting for these, like, you know, this, like, fucking movie that's gonna blow my mind. And that's why, like, the Freddy ones to me, when I was a young child, because there was so much happening all throughout all the movies, so much silliness.
And he's comical.
Banter and
he
whatever,
talks.
right? So the fact that, Yasmina, you're saying, you know, Kane Hodder brought this, like, personality to a character who has no personality.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's pretty neat. And as a kid, I obviously didn't understand it, but...
Yeah, and it's so funny that was the
Yeah.
first one that I watched, and it scared the living shit out of me. Like, I remember watching it during the day at a friend's house whose dad owned a video rental store, and the store closed down, and they kept all the tapes in their basement. It was just, like, piles and piles of tapes.
Oh, my God.
And, like, I would go over there, and every time we'd hang out, I'd just be like, let's pick a random movie. And then one day we picked The New Blood, and I was, like, riding my bike home and looking behind me, because I was afraid that Jason was, like, behind me.
That's awesome.
I think I must have been 7. I want to say I was, like, 6 or 7. But part 4 has always been a close... Okay, I'm not going to get into it right now, but because Friday the 13th, the series, is, like, my favorite, I admire each one in their own way,
right.
And my favorites would have to be like 7, 4. I like 5 a lot. I love part 5, the one that's like not Jason. Mm-hmm. I love that one a lot. And it's funny, Megan, how you were saying that they're so dark. I think part 5 has a lot more daylight shots.
Oh, well, that's good. See, I don't know them off by heart like you do, because like you said, it's just like, I don't have that nostalgia bringing me back to watch it.
But definitely, like, Friday the 13th is, like, number 1 for me.
Yeah.
And then Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, because I do love the first Halloween, and I think the second one is, like, okay.
Yeah.
The third one is, like, not even part of the universe, but it's, like, brilliant.
But it's awesome.
It's brilliant in its own way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so this episode is, like, me basically nerding out and...
What about
having
the new
a
one
message?
that came out? I never
What's
saw
that?
it. What about the new one?
I liked it actually. Like with the one with Jared Paladella.
Came out like what, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. You know why? Because the fucking kills were brutal.
I never
the kills
saw it,
were
alright.
really
Yeah,
the kills were actually really really fucking brutal, and that's what made it watchable. But it's not one that I would own. Like if it
Really?
was if it's on Shudder, like, and I'm like something to watch like while I'm working on notes or writing or something like that, it's good. But the kills are fucking so fun.
You don't have like this compulsive need as a collector just to have it?
You know,
That's
I
so
used to
weird
have
to
it.
have the-
I know.
the end,
I
like,
actually,
the
I used to
collection?
have it. I used to have it, but I sold it because I just didn't watch it as much. I have to be like, honestly, it's very, very rare that I'm in the mood to watch something that came out past 95. Okay. But yeah, it's this episode is like pretty much going to be me like jizzing all over this fucking movie because I love Jason, and like 3 of my boyfriends are in this fucking movie.
Shit.
Yeah, they are.
So yeah, I'm gonna be like fucking creaming my pants over here. But yeah, so let's begin with some facts. So final chapter, it came out in 1984. It was directed by Joseph Zito. So we already started the movie, and we're at the part at the hospital where they're watching that aerobics video.
Which is, like, hilarious.
And yeah,
so
that
80s.
That VHS is on my want list. I would love to have that video, because I'm pretty sure that's the same video that the dirty grandpa is watching in Dirty Work. Remember that movie with Norm Macdonald?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's watching this video too. But so y'all ready for some Seinfeld rep? So we're at the beginning of the movie where Nurse Morgan. Her name is Morgan, and we missed it. The ambulance driver.
Is that guy the rabbi?
Okay, sorry. So yeah, so this guy, the guy who plays fucking Axel in the hospital, his name is Bruce Mahler. He's the fucking rabbi in Elaine's building that tells everyone secrets.
Wow.
Did you not know that, like, before?
No.
Really?
Because that episode is one of my favorites because he's so
He's
monotone.
he's in like 3, I think.
Well, the one I'm referring to is when George gets engaged. And
and then Elaine is jealous.
She's like, on him.
Oh, I spoke to your friend Elaine.
Your friend Elaine. I love
that's
how
fucking
he says
Axel.
that.
I know.
Elaine.
Your friend Elaine. Well, blah, blah, blah. And we missed it earlier, but the guy that was driving the ambulance is fucking Jerry's barber, Enzo.
And that drama when they go into his apartment to cut his hair.
Yeah, and then like they find the hair.
Seinfeld is literally the most fucking insane show ever, and I love that there's more than one thing going on here.
Yeah, I know.
With
I love
Seinfeld,
it.
and it's always a pleasure when there's a Seinfeld reference.
I know,
because like I have watched some episodes. I'm not like as big a fan as you guys, and I just love watching you guys fucking lose your mind.
I will
over
lend
this shit.
you you have Crave, right?
Yeah, it's on there.
On
yeah,
Crave?
and I've just like put random episodes on and watched like certain key ones. Like I've seen the fucking pirate shirt one and all that shit.
God, that
and like
show
the
is
man
fucking
hands,
brilliant.
is that the same one? No, that's the girl is deaf.
Dude, the man hands
I've seen that
is one
one.
of the best episodes because there's so much going on in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the one where George is dating. No, he thinks he's dating a model.
Oh yes,
and
he goes.
He has a photo.
He has the picture, and he goes to the nightclub,
so the
and he
man
shows
hands
the photo. Yeah,
has the. Is a model, and he was like, I need another picture, and then when Jerry goes into her rifles in her purse, and then the fucking man hand grabs his hand. Oh fuck, we should just have
incredible.
a podcast about Seinfeld. Seriously,
We should.
Seinfeld stories.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
SSS.
Before we get carried away and we missed this scene, I just want to talk about the most memorable scene for me in the Halloween franchise. Don't even ask me which one it is because I don't know. But where there's always a hospital scene where the hospital is pitch black. First of all, I've been to a hospital. Nurses are working on their 12-hour shift.
The lights are always on.
Nonstop.
Yeah,
they don't have
fluorescent
time
as
to
fuck.
fool around. No one has time to fool around. And everyone's fooling around in this hospital. In Halloween,
It's part 2.
There's in the Halloween nurse, and then puts her in the hot tub and boils her.
Yeah, that's part 2. Yeah,
Right. In horror movies, for some reason, they really are drawn to these empty hospital, dark. Bitch, that
when it's not like that at all.
never
If you're in a hospital at fucking 3 in the morning, it's bright as fuck.
Yeah, you could never sleep in a hospital as someone that was a patient. The lights are always on. They don't turn that shit off.
Oh, the rabbi's getting it.
Oh, he's getting his head sawed off.
Oh, man. But it's so
twisted
funny
off.
because, I've watched this movie a million times, and I've watched Seinfeld a million times, and I didn't realize that it was the guy from Seinfeld until I fucking did. I wanted to say that I didn't know either. I didn't know until I was doing my notes, and I was like, oh my god, that's the fucking rabbi. That is incredible. But this woman, Nurse Morgan, she's also in Back to the Future Part 1 and 2. She plays one of Lorraine's friends, so it's like a side character.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that funny because Crispin was also in
Yeah.
Back to the Future, so they were both in this together as well.
Cute.
And she's also in Savage Streets,
that's cool.
Breakin', and she's also an author. I think she writes books now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Breaking.
Yeah.
Breakin'.
The
Remember we tried to watch
breakdancing-
that once,
That's what I
Megan?
mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, with
breakdancing, she's
JCVD.
in that?
Well, and he's
Yeah.
got that weird outfit. He's the clapping and
Oh my
he's
god, that's the best. Me and Megan, we
shaking.
tried when we used to live together, and we tried to watch Breakin' one night, and we were into it for maybe half an hour, but then we're like, all right, this is just enough dancing. This is enough.
You guys
It's just
can't
too
see
much.
me, but I'm doing bunny ears dancing. There were some movements happening.
Oh
Yeah.
well, apparently the second one's even better. Bunny ears.
quote unquote better.
Yeah, I don't have the second one, but I still want to watch it because our fucking boyfriend's in it, Lorenzo Lamas.
Oh, is he in the second one?
Wait, no,
More Lorenzos.
no, I'm wrong. No, he's in the Breakin' ripoff movie.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
guy plays Carlton? Alfonso.
Alfonso, yeah.
Lorenzo.
Alfredo.
Alfredo's fucking snake eater.
Pizza by Alfredo's
Oh,
or
man.
Alfredo's Pizza?
All
Okay.
right. This is gonna be a deep episode. There's a lot of fucking detail.
Elbow deep.
Yeah.
That's not how you do. She's never gone elbow deep in a pee. She starts with her elbow. Listen, this movie had a budget and it had actors in it. We're not going to talk about any of it because we cannot focus.
It had a budget and it had actors.
Oh fuck.
Oh, man.
Well, So yeah, earlier you mentioned that it was meant to be the last one in the movie, in the series, and Paramount's president at the time, his son, I guess, like, was over Friday the 13th, and because Frank Mancuso, he produced all the Friday the 13th sequels, and he was Paramount's son in the 80s.
Yeah.
So he was over it and was like, this is the last one because people don't respect my work and these are just silly movies. And then Paramount, they agreed, and there was a decline in popularity, and they were like, let's just do one last one, and then we'll bring Tom Savini back to do the special effects because he worked on the first one, but he didn't work on part 2 and 3. And they were like, this is gonna, like, you know, he's gonna kill off Jason, and this is it. This is gonna be over. Lo and behold, people just wanted more. Like, they just kept on pumping them out.
I find that to be so interesting how it was like, yeah, Frank Mancuso Jr. was like, yeah, like, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, he was like kind of pissed off or whatever. He was resenting it because he felt like nobody respected him for working on them. But then it was like the people spoke. Like, this is one of the biggest franchises of movies in horror. Mm-hmm. I just think it's funny that he was like, yeah, you know, it probably is spoiled rich boy. Like, you know, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm bored. And then he went and produced fucking Cool World. Wow, what an amazing movie.
It was
what a vision.
I was going to say, it was supposed to be groundbreaking.
Yeah. Holy shit, that movie's a piece of fuck.
It was supposed to be groundbreaking, and I think you're right, Morgan, when you say, like, he's like an elitist little spoiled fucking brat.
Yeah.
Because horror fans, we've talked about this in almost every episode, horror fans in the 70s and 80s were not respected. Were not the majority, right? It was still underground, especially in the 70s. The 80s, of course, had, like, their thing.
It started to...
So this doesn't count, but it's like, he probably had that mentality of, like, who gives a fuck about slasher movies? Let's make Cool World.
Yeah.
That's what the mass wants.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not respected. My dad is the president of Paramount. Man, let's kill Jason off, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, of all of the things that he had produced, this is probably the most enduring and lasting.
Definitely. On the list of shit when I was doing research, I was like, not worth writing down, like, the work he's done, like, not worth it, like, and Cool World is literally...
I remember.
That was, like, one of the only other things.
What year did that movie come out?
Cool World? It was super early because it was one of Brad Pitt's, like, first, like, starring...
And Kim Basinger. I remember when that movie came out, and the hype was, like, insane because it was, like, a cartoon and a real-life movie, and I watched it at the time, and then I didn't remember it, and then I watched it recently in life. Holy shit, I turned it off. I watch a lot of garbage. That movie, like, it's got to be really bad for me to turn a movie off. And, like, I turned Cool World off.
Wasn't there a Brandon Fraser movie that was cartoon and people, too?
Oh, no. Monkey Bone?
Monkey Bone.
Was that it? But that wasn't cartoons, though. They were just, they were like...
I think it was claymation, wasn't it?
It was claymation. Okay. Yeah. But...
So otherwise, there's another one.
There is another one.
There is, and I can't...
Well, not Roger Rabbit, obviously.
But obviously,
that's like the one.
Yeah. But yeah, so a fun little fact about that aerobicized video that plays earlier. It stars a woman named Darcy DeMoss, and she's also in Friday the 13th Part 6.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny.
So fucking hilarious.
There's a lot of interesting correlations and connections in this movie, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge nerd when it comes to Friday the 13th. Like, I have the Crystal Lake Memories Blu-ray and, like, the His Name is Jason DVD. But, like, when I actually, like, dug deep in my notes, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe there was, like, all this trivia that I actually didn't know. Like, the nurse's name, like, Nurse Morgan, is an homage to Robbie Morgan, who played Annie in the first Friday the 13th.
Oh, interesting.
Did not know that.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
The Jarvis home is the same house they used in Ed Gein. Remember that movie?
I did. Yeah, I did read that. Actually, that's very cool.
So like another fun thing about this movie is this and Part 5 came out at the same time in Turkey, and they played them as a double feature. So that would be pretty cool to be able to see Part 4 and 5 back to back in theaters in 1985.
Fuck yeah,
that's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Joseph Zito. His directorial debut was a movie called Abduction, and it's based on Patty Hearst.
Which is really crazy.
I must watch this movie. Do you know who Patty Hearst is? It's that woman that was, like, a hostage, but then she turned and sided with the people that, like, captured her. it happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
So these people, she was like a heiress and like had millions of dollars like in her family name and everything, and these people kidnapped her and wanted like a ransom, but then they fucking is that Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah.
They like twisted her mind and made her believe their beliefs.
Yeah.
And she
it was like a
turned-
militant, like anti-government type group. Yeah.
And so they robbed a bank with her, and she was like part of the robbery. It was like huge in the 70s, and she so she did her time. She went to jail and everything. And later in life, she started doing acting, and she's actually really good friends with John Waters, and she's in like most of John Waters' movies. Like she's in A Dirty Shame. Like
her
she's
life
in
sounds made up. So she was super, super rich, and then she was kidnapped, and then she robbed a bank, and then
yeah,
she was an actress.
yeah. There's
like,
a book.
right?
She has a book. I really, really want to read it. So
It'd
I
be
didn't know
fascinating.
that Joseph Zito, his first movie was a movie like based on her. So I really want to
Sounds
watch
like a hell
that.
of a movie. My
Yeah.
God.
So he also directed a movie called Blood Rage, but not the Thanksgiving
Not the Blood Rage that I know.
It's about a killer that kills hookers.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
like
Yeah,
Peppa Pup's
and
joke.
so a movie that I made Morgan watch. I don't know if you watched it, Megan, but The Prowler.
Yes, the Prowler.
Jesus Christ.
that's a great movie.
So I just watched The Prowler a couple weeks
Yeah,
ago.
it is a great
It's
movie.
always been on my watch list, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna record this episode. I have to watch it. And then I watched it and like immediately like told Morgan, I was like, oh my God, you need to fucking watch The Prowler. I legit was like blown away at how good that fucking movie is. It's like definitely in my opinion now in like the top 10 slashers. Like the kills are brutal as fuck.
yeah, it was very well executed. While I was watching it, I could definitely get the like Friday the 13th vibe. Like it's got that like early 80s slasher vibe. But yeah, the kills were fucking incredible. Also, when I watched the movie, immediately as soon as the movie started, I was like, I know who's the killer.
Oh,
I was like, I bet you it's the sheriff.
that's funny.
Watch
I did
the
not.
movie. I knew it. I knew
Why do
exactly.
you always
Yeah.
ruin everything for yourself?
Me?
Yeah.
I was just wanted to see if I was right. Oh, hey, Peter Barton and his
Oh my God!
shorts.
Jesus Christ, Peter Barton!
I can see your balls peeking out of those shorts.
Oh my
Mama.
God!
He's like, I don't want anyone to look at my boner.
Oh, I'll look at that boner any fucking day. We'll get into him later.
Yeah, you will.
But yeah, Joseph Zito, then he did a bunch of action movies. Like, he did a bunch of movies with
Lots of
Chuck
canon
Norris.
shit, yeah.
Yeah, so he did Missing in Action, Invasion USA, Red Scorpion with Dolph Lundgren, and a movie in 2000 called Delta Force One.
Oh, God.
The Lost Patrol with Chuck Norris' son, Mike Norris.
Oh.
The movie's called Delta Force One: The Lost Patrol. Never ever heard a title so actiony.
Right?
I know, right?
Delta Force One.
The Lost Patrol!
Yeah, like
Also, so long.
machine
know.
guns go off
Yeah,
every
I
time
know,
you say
right?
that name.
Yeah, so I didn't know that Chuck Norris had a son that also acted. And Joseph also directed the music video for The Man Behind the Mask by Alice Cooper, which is the song for Friday the 13th Part 6.
That's cool.
I thought that was pretty fun. I love that song so much. The best part of that song where he's like, no, don't turn out the lights. Ooh, Alice Cooper, you're so scary. But yeah, so when he, Joseph Zito, when he was hired for this movie, he was offered to direct and write. And then he was like, oh, but I'm not a writer. But then they offered him like double his wage.
And so he was like,
And
yes,
then
I'm
he's
a
like,
writer.
yes, I am a writer now. And, but then instead, like, didn't tell them that he wasn't a writer, and he secretly hired a writer named Barney Cohen to write the script for him. And they had to do these insane meetings because he would have to, like, go to these meetings and then relay all the info to this Barney fella, and then have to like get him to rewrite the draft, and then he would have to go to these meetings and pretend that he like rewrote the draft.
scandalous.
I know,
Right?
right? Yeah. And Joseph, he's credited as the writer, for the movie. And him and Barney apparently got, in a lot of shit for it from the Writers Guild of America.
Oh, for
Apparently,
Pete's
yeah,
sake.
there's certain rules that actually ended up being written because of what happened.
Well, I mean, it's basically plagiarism.
Yeah.
Even though the guy knows it, it's
Yeah.
still plagiarism. Right?
Lies!
It is, yeah.
What a
And
bunch
I'm
of
sure, yeah,
liars.
he got paid for it, but it's he paid him, this Barney guy, out of the extra money that he was
I gotta
getting.
tell you, who cares?
I know, right?
You know what I mean? The movie was written, it was written well. The guy who wrote it clearly didn't want the credit, or else he would have said, fuck you, I wrote it, put my name on that
Yeah.
shit. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? He
yeah.
was clearly cool with the whole deal. If he's cool with it and he's cool with it, I mean, why we gotta get politics about? Why we gotta get the law?
I know, right?
involved?
Right? Well, and it is kind of like the idea of a ghostwriter with a book, right?
That's
it's
exactly what it is.
you know, you
I mean,
you
yeah,
put
he
your
didn't tell
name
the
on it.
producers, and he didn't tell the
Exactly.
fucking distributors. And
Exactly.
he didn't, well, I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Never mind, I get it. When you put it that way.
That's funny.
super sketchy.
I put it that way. When I talk myself through things, I understand them. It did good. Waving my hands a lot.
You are dead.
You are dead. It had a budget of approx 2.6 million. Made opening weekend USA 11 million, and then worldwide between 32 and 33 million opening
Crazy.
weekend. So and again, tickets for the movies were what, $4?
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
You know
so
what I
cheap.
mean?
Probably
How
not
could you
even-
be like,
yeah.
oh, the popularity of slashers are declining. Let's just kill this franchise off.
I mean, like, who
Meanwhile,
fucking
it makes
makes that?
fucking 5 times the money in the opening weekend.
Opening
Yeah.
weekend, yeah, that's true. That's literally just the weekend.
Yeah, they paid for that outright, and then for it to go on and make 3 times more. I don't know. It just seems fucking again.
She's got her hands on her hips. But to be fair, probably half the people who spent money on the tickets, not like it matters, but they were just finger banging in the theater.
You know
horror
it.
movies
Oh, with
in
the popcorn,
80s,
with
yeah.
the thing that's got the hole in
The
it.
dick in the
Yeah,
popcorn.
little
yeah.
hand jobbers. Cause
Yep.
horror movies, I think back then they were still the makeout thing, right? Weren't they? They get your girl scared.
Yeah.
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 Also, I like how you just said hand jobbers. I like that. I'm gonna say that from now on.
Would you like a hand jobber? Is that
You're one of those hand jobbers, aren't you?
Fuck shit.
Holy fuck.
So, we already talked about how Tom Savini came back and fucking crushed it. So a little bit about our man Thomas. So he got his breakthrough role working with fellow Pittsburgh filmmaker George Romero, which at first I was like, I've never heard of this movie, and he only did the one major scene, and it was a wrist slashing scene in a movie called Martin.
Oh yeah. Martin is it's
vampire. It's like George A. Romero's very, very amateur vampire movie.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Vampire's Kiss, where it's he thinks he's a vampire because he's insane.
Oh, okay. Neat.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a really, really long time.
I have a copy.
I remember
haven't
it
seen it
being
yet.
kind of boring.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time, honestly, maybe 15 years
Yeah.
since I've watched it.
It could have merit for other reasons, I guess. I definitely want to watch it. I have a copy, so.
The kid looks like he's like a grown-up Damien. He's super weird, has a bowl cut.
Bowl cuts.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Strange.
I could be making this up. I don't know.
Sounds like
I was really drunk in college.
College was a very drunk time for me.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about Tom Savini because whenever he's in, or whenever he's worked on a movie that we do.
Doo-doo. Doo-doo butter.
I want to bring...
It's doo-doo, baby!
I always want to bring him up because I feel like one day he's going to be dead. And then we're going to be
course
like,
he is.
why didn't
Everyone
we
dies.
talk about him
Everyone.
more when he was alive and with
Aw.
us? And so, I just want to, for people who are listening who haven't, just remind yourselves of all the great things that he's done. And, and then I was reminded that he really branched out when he did those Slipknot masks. that was.
I never saw those. I did hear about it though.
Yeah, it was like in 2016 or something. Like it was.
It was the last album cycle. Yeah.
And he did these great masks for them, and the fact that I think a band reached out to him and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'll do your fucking masks." Like that is, I mean, Slipknot. He probably doesn't. Oh, maybe he does. He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
but who listens to Slipknot?
Dude, people do. It's weird.
Okay, let me tell you,
early albums.
They just put an album out that is the number one selling album in America right now. It sold like 200,000 copies in the first week.
People still buy albums?
Dude, I know. I actually
people.
didn't even know that they were still a band, to be honest. And like she said this the other day to me, and I was like, they're still around.
Okay, but you
but
know
I'm out of the metal scene.
But
though,
that's weird because Nicki Minaj's new album just dropped, and that is apparently the best-selling album of this year or whatever. So like, how the fuck do you?
The world that we live in now is so quick that like that was like they released their album 2 weeks ago, so like it was the biggest album for that week.
Good
but
for
now,
them though. They deserve it too. They're nice guys. Like Morgan has toured with them before.
Yeah.
I honestly
like
I'm not like totally like I'm out of the metal scene and like
I have no idea what's going on with music. I only know because I actually follow Corey, and that's the only reason. I don't read any news about metal or anything like that.
Yeah, but good for them though. Just pause this conversation. We're at the part where Crispin is dancing, and I will get into him later, but I'm a very huge Crispin Glover
He's fucking
fan.
Adorable in this movie. He's super
and
cute.
I did not know after doing research on this movie that this dance scene was filmed while AC/DC Back in Black was playing in the background, and then the Lion song was added later.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the Lion song is not on the soundtrack. And that song rules.
Yeah, it's the only song,
If you bought the soundtrack as someone before the internet when you can just look songs up, you would be mighty pissed.
Right?
I know, right?
This is an iconic scene.
Yeah.
I fucking love it. But anyways, back to Tom.
Well, listen, that's all. I just wanted to kind of say that he's still around, guys. And
he's so pleasant too.
He's just
We've met
such a
him
fucking great
a couple
guy.
times, and every time we talk to him, like he's just so fucking genuinely
Lovely.
nice.
I want to get some of his books. He's apparently written
Yes!
dozens of books about
and I
special
love that he has
effects
his own
and-
school.
Yeah, so I want to get some of his books, but more importantly, who would win Crispin Glover or Ed Harris in a dance-off?
Oh fuck! You
More
know what?
importantly.
Oh my god.
This is going to be tough for me to answer because I'm biased because I love Crispin Glover, but
I think
Megan
Ed Harris.
loves Ed
I think
Harris.
Ed Harris would win. Okay, so does
Okay,
that mean
wait a
that my vote is the winning vote because you guys are each biased?
Yeah, but are you aware of like Crispin's other eccentric like acts of like weirdness in his career that might trump the one single dance
Okay,
scene
well,
in
I know. Well, if we're
Creepshow.
just talking about dancing, I know that this scene, the dancing scene, is literally that's actually him dancing. Like,
Yeah, that's how he dances.
He goes to clubs or did and danced just like that. He's fucking Elaine. It's insane.
Another rhyme, you son of a bitch!
I would love to have
for
them
poetry.
dancing together though, like them doing a dance off together. That would be the bee's knees.
Oh my god, but like in their age.
I know,
now,
man.
it would be
I know
so
if they're like
fucking
joints move
Have
that
we
way.
lost either of them? Because I feel like Ed Harris isn't dead, is he? For Pete's sake.
No, he's fucking old though. Like, cause he's in
He's been bald since he was
Westworld,
born.
that show, and he's getting up there. I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm not really sure how to judge this. Like, for craziness, like Crispin Glover would win.
For sure.
But like the Ed Harris is like he's got some hips. You know what I'm saying?
I was just gonna say it draws your eyes to his.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, for sure. So that's
funny,
why
I
I
was looking
say.
at Crispin's. You know what?
That's
in
why I
this
say Ed
scene when
Harris.
they're standing in the
That
kitchen.
guy has his fist through his junk hole.
Yeah.
I just want to say one more thing about Tom Savini though. I love all of the masks in this movie. Like all the stuff that like Tommy Jarvis apparently made that we all know as horror fans that's like Tom's mask.
Yeah, and it's like an homage to
precious.
him
It's
in this
so
movie. I
precious.
think it's really, really
It's
cool.
adorable. This is like the Friday the 13th. That's like the adorable one of the series, I think. There's a lot of nostalgia in it with the masks with Corey Feldman as a kid and the Tommy Jarvis character, like the introduction of that character, whereas like part 7 is just brutal as fuck. But that guy, fucking dead fuck. Well, okay, Crispin's the dead fuck, but the guy who says dead fuck, Lawrence Monasoon, I'm not sure how to say his last name, but he's the guy who's Ted. And, let me type that into the computer. You're a dead fuck. Me and Morgan's sister used to say that all the time in high school. We'd always be like, dead fuck! But that guy was in that movie that is talked about in the Canon Films documentary, The Last American Virgin.
Oh.
It's a very interesting movie. I've never seen it personally, but in the documentary they talk about it, and like it's basically like a remake of Lemon Popsicle or something like that. Is like the original like Turkish movie that he made, but it's one of those like 80s movies where the kid is like trying to get laid, which is like a classic like like theme in a lot of like 80s movies. And but apparently this one kind of pushed the boundary a little bit, and it's a little bit more vile than all of the other ones. And he was also in Mask.
Oh,
I've actually never seen the entirety of Mask.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Eric
And
Stoltz.
Sam Elliott.
yeah.
I've only seen parts of
Rocky
it.
Dennis, motherfucker.
It's it's really sad.
What did you say?
I said Rocky Dennis, motherfucker.
Is that the
That's
guy's
the guy.
name? Oh.
Yes, I feel like I've never, ever, ever fucking heard of you doing this or been around you doing this one thing, and that is watching a drama.
It's
I've
a
never
drama.
seen you
I
watch
watch
the
lots of
fucking
dramas.
Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. I've never seen you fucking mow down to like a really juicy like fucking Eat, Pray, Love. Like I've never seen you.
Oh, you're talking about like that kind of drama.
Well,
okay.
this is heart wrenching. Like
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is like a movie about like a disfigured human, and it makes you
Yeah.
fucking cry. Like it's a fucking drama through and through.
Yeah.
And I've never ever ever called you, and you've been like, oh, I'm just watching a fucking tearjerker over here. Never.
I do watch them, I guess. I just Mask is one that always, I don't know, like I remember it was on TV a lot,
Yeah.
and I just never started it from, like I just never watched it from like beginning to end. But
He had cranial dysplasia. Sorry. Yeah. But
That's a
guys,
real thing.
let's like
That's a
Eric
real thing.
like
Don't
that.
laugh. That's all
Rocky
right.
Dennis was played
That's
by
funny.
Eric
I'm laughing at
Stoltz.
you.
Oh fuck, Morgan.
That's who played him.
yeah, I know.
Eric
I
Stoltz.
I did know
So
that.
just
it
like
was Eric
picture
Stoltz.
like his hot face under Rocky Dennis's face, and then in the movie is
Who's the hot guy?
Eric
Eric
Stoltz.
Stoltz. You don't think Eric Stoltz? You don't think he's
You
hot?
said it 7 times. No, who is that?
Look,
He's
him up.
Mask.
Oh my god, we're stuck in this.
They're like,
fucking
He's the drug dealer in Pulp Fiction. He's like one of the
Really?
only good-looking like redheads.
Ginger.
Yeah, him and Josh Homme, I think, are like the only good-looking.
Josh Homme is like
But
the fuck is
now,
Josh
the
Homme?
singer of
from
Queens of Stone
Queens
Age.
of Stone Age, yeah.
I don't like singers.
But Mask. Mask is a good movie.
Yeah, I should watch it.
I have a copy if you would like to borrow it.
If you would like.
If you would like to borrow
I'd
it.
borrow it. I'd borrow it. Well,
take
that
it.
guy that plays Ted, he's also in Deep Space Nine and
Oh.
Enterprise and Beverly Hills 90210 and ER and Starship Troopers 2.
Two.
They made
So-
a sequel.
I didn't know there was a second.
Okay,
didn't know either.
I had a feeling you guys were going to say that, and I was like, you know what? I've actually never seen the second one because it looks atrocious, but they made a third one where the original cast came back, and I actually heard that one was amazing, and I want to
Did
watch
Michael
the third
Ironside
one.
come back? No, he died. Never mind.
Yeah,
Spoiler
but
alert.
Casper Van Diem comes back.
Really?
Yeah,
Casper
and-
Van Jaw.
Yeah, man, I'd go there.
Did you know that there were 3 Lost Boys movies?
Yes, yeah, we watched.
So we'll get to it when we talk about
one.
Corey
Yeah.
Feldman, but what?
I know. We watched. I think I watched one of them. I want to say it was called The Tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tribe. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it in the Lost Boys episode.
Okay, well, I wasn't listening because
It was also like 2 years ago.
present. So I just want to get back to the actual movie. It's my Austin Powers.
Yeah.
And just some interesting facts. So Victor Miller, who is the creator, he got the name Jason from combining his kids' names, Josh and Ian, into Jason. Jason.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's
so I
really
thought that
weird.
was pretty neat. And Voorhees, the last name Voorhees, was inspired by a girl Miller knew in high school whose last name was Van Voorhees.
Interesting.
And he said that when he heard it, like even as like someone in high school, like a fucking, I was gonna say infant, you're not that in high school. Even as a adolescent,
Yeah.
he was like, Voorhees, that's fucking creepy.
It does
and
sound
held on
creepy.
to it and then used it in that film, which was pretty neat. And also Jason, the character, was not originally disformed. The crew, which I thought was really interesting, because since when does a director really give a fuck? Or like a creator, you know? But apparently the crew of the first movie was like, no, we gotta make this kid fucking gnarly. Like, we gotta, like, fuck him up. And he was like, okay, we'll give it a shot.
Interesting.
And then after they shot it, he was like, he's should have been disformed from the get-go. Like, of course, that's great. And Miller wanted a Carrie-type ending, he said, that in quotations, to the first one, which is why he put that dream sequence in.
Right.
He added it. Because he was like, you remember at the end of Carrie, where there's that dream sequence
Yes.
of the survivor?
Yeah.
And the hand
Comes out of the grave,
comes out,
yeah.
and so that was his Carrie moment.
Oh, okay.
That's
At the end. So it's the
awesome.
same. It's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
It's a shocker,
Yeah.
and that's how he wrapped it up. And it like is so, like, endings like that. I feel like no one wants like a pretty package at the end of a horror movie.
Well, it's just like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like at the end when it's like also another dream sequence when the mom is taken
Right,
through the
Yeah.
fucking window.
And I love how she
Like-
gets like through the
Oh my
glass
god,
window.
that
It's
was so bad.
So this big.
It's so
It's like a fucking like paper mache body. And it's like, I love it. It's
And
the
at
best.
the end of Freddy vs. Jason, where Freddy's got the little.
Oh
my
yeah, that's a
God.
fun movie.
I think that it's really, it has a lot of impact
Yeah.
at the end of a movie where people are like letting go of their partner's hand. They're like, oh, okay, it's safe now. And
Yeah.
they're like, "Reet, reet."
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last time to get in there, and it also kind of leaves it open for it's like, will there be a sequel? Will there not? Like, is because it's a dream sequence, does that mean that there
Right.
will be a sequel? So it's like you can't really figure out whether or not there'll be more, which is
Right.
cool.
This man lurking in the water looks like John Travolta right now, and I don't know why. Hairy chest, jean shorts, brown hair.
Those are very short shorts.
Why is he wearing them in the water? Why don't you just take your fucking
That's,
shorts off?
That's what you did in the 80s, man.
Jeans,
So
though?
that's Paul, and Paul is played by Clyde Hayes, and he was in The Bold and the Beautiful and that fucking movie Neon Maniacs.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever watch that movie?
You know what? I have. Oh, wait. No,
It's,
I did see it. I did see it.
It's okay. Like, I think it's kind of overrated,
Yeah,
to be
it was
honest.
a little boring. I remember.
How have I never
remember
heard
being
of
bored.
it?
It's like all these different kind of like demons / ghosts, and like it's silly. It's not. I mean, I would buy it on VHS, but it's not one that I would be like, oh, I really feel like watching Neon Maniacs right now. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I watched it a couple times, and I was just like, yeah, it's like cheesy, and I like cheesy, but I don't know. I don't think it's that great. So Paul, his girlfriend, is played by one of my favorite characters in this movie, actually. Samantha. So Judy Aronson. I think she's gorgeous. For some reason, I've always been like drawn to her character in this movie. So poor Judy, she almost fucking died.
Judah.
It's not funny. It's not funny. She almost died of hypothermia, Megan. But like in the Crystal Lake Memories documentary, like they're interviewing her, and yeah, she had to be rushed to the hospital because of the scene where she's on that little boat and her lower part of her body was submerged in the
That's
water.
the fucking director being a piece of
Yeah,
dick.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
Dick
the
shit
80s, I guess they
face.
didn't have like fucking like
Unions or fucking
Yeah.
like teams where they took care of people's health.
Yeah. Budget constraints
Yeah, I
too.
know. So her body was like her lower half was submerged in the water, and then they had her fake back on the boat while her head and her arms were resting on the raft, and he comes up in the water and like stabs her from underneath. But like that shot took a really long time, and like between cuts, like they kept her in like fucking freezing cold water, and Ted White actually threatened to quit if they kept keeping her in the water in between takes, and they got into this like huge fight, and Ted was like, fuck you, Joe, take my name out of the credits, like this is bullshit. And she got rushed to the hospital, and she like almost died of hypothermia.
That's
which is,
crazy.
Like, insane. Like
I-
but I feel like that actually happens in the 80s a lot in like a lot of productions, you know, like
Like
it's
a
now
lot
it's
of
like-
a lot of dangerous things because like for the sake of saving a bit of money, and like the actors are actually
and it was
put in
like
precarious
totally
situations.
legal. It's bonkers, but
Good for Ted White for fucking
Yeah,
because
he-
as a stuntman, I'm sure he understands like that. Like sometimes these things can be dangerous, and like these are kids,
Yeah,
right? And he was
yeah,
like a little fucking
no,
man,
right?
but he
She
was
was
like,
like a
you can't put people
teenager.
in these kinds of
I
situations.
know. But yeah, so she now owns her own Pilates studio in California, and she's, I think, I'm not sure if she's still acting, but I'm a fan of a lot of her earlier movies as well. But she was also in an episode of that fucking show that Peter Barton was on, The Powers of Matthew Starr.
Mm-hmm.
The photos from that show alone, like,
when I was like this, and when I was like looking into it, it said like the well-known or like the well-renowned. I was like, what the fuck is this?
it's like
just looking
really
at it.
early. Like, is it like late 70s, early 80s?
I think so, but it was like well renowned, like, but like what, it only had like one season or like
one
didn't
or
have...
two or something.
But yeah, it was
Yeah.
like the first thing that came up. Like it was
The
the most
photos
important
are
piece
like
of
the
information.
funniest thing I've
there.
ever
Yeah.
fucking
Oh,
seen in my
what?
life, though. It's like, that's some fucking like Logan's Run shit.
Yeah,
like,
good call.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really want to watch it. If I ever find it like used on DVD, I will totally buy it. But she was in an episode with him on that show, and she is probably more known for Weird Science.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love Weird Science, in my opinion. I think it's John Hughes' best movie. And she was also in American Ninja with Michael Dudikoff.
Oh, yeah.
I posted
The dude.
that.
The dude.
The Dudikoff. I posted a photo once on Instagram when I was watching American Ninja, and I tagged her, and she liked it, and she commented on it, and I was like, oh my god, like I totally
That's cool.
yeah, I
That's
had
really
like a little
sweet.
like fan moment. Like, that's so adorable that she even like fucking commented on it.
That's cute.
I know, like I was like, thank you so much. Like the fact that like actors, you know, like will take the time to like reach out and talk to their
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
fucking
really
really cool.
appreciate that. So I love Judy Aronson. I really do. She's also in this anthology movie that is one that I've not seen. It's called After Midnight. And she's in a movie called The Sleeping Car. And it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I like that movie a lot. It's got fucking David Naughton from American Werewolf in London.
I love him. He's such a cutie.
Oh, you would love this
patootie.
movie. You would love this movie. He like goes back to school, and she's another student, and they start to hang out, but he's like much older, and she's always like, you know,
He looks like
Josh
Jack Galligan, like exactly.
Yeah, he totally does.
Identical
Yeah.
little curly whirls.
Yeah.
Well, that movie sounds cute.
It's adorable. I'll lend it to you.
Thank
I like it a lot. But
Thank
I really like I like Judy Aronson, especially after she commented on my post. I was like, you fucking rule.
I just wanted to say that her grandfather was the head honcho rabbi, and that is it.
What's that mean?
I'm so glad you asked.
Yes!
Story time.
So, her grandfather was Rabbi David Aronson, president of the Rabbinical Assembly of America.
Whoa.
So he was president of the Rabbi Society of America.
That's
so
fucking,
he was
that's a big deal.
the rabbi.
He was number
to
one
rule-
rabbi, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ring to rule them all or whatever.
Yeah.
That is
The
that-
yarmulke to rule them all.
Yes.
Yes.
So she's like a fucking Jewish princess kind of.
Whoa.
Like a Jewess.
A Jewess.
Yeah.
Like a fucking well-respected Jewess.
That's incredible,
Awesome.
actually.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
And I mean, your facts were cool too.
Yeah, man.
Whatever. Our facts combined together provided the best facts.
Our
on
facts
Judy
combined,
Aronson.
we are Captain Witchfinger.
That's good. That's Captain America. That's good. Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
America. Fuck my
Hot.
Captain America.
My notes for her were literally got hypothermia, had an awesome grandfather.
That's cool.
Amazing.
That's cool.
I
That's
don't
cool.
know.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Hurt. Yeah, like
I want
what
to
the fuck
talk
is that
about Peter Barton.
Okay, let's
Can
talk.
we? Do we
Yes,
get to
I'm
it?
ready. I'm ready. Okay, I've talked about Corey before, and I will, but I love Crispin. But seriously, like fucking, when I was a kid, when I used to watch this movie, I had the biggest crush on Peter Barton. He is
Really?
so
No, let me tell you,
hot.
Yasmina, let me tell you something. Peter Barton is like everything that I see that you like in a guy.
He just looks like Freddie Mercury, like so much.
Dude, Peter Barton.
He's got
is
that
like,
jawline, like
So
He is like
he's
a
got such
model,
an
man.
angular face.
He is so fucking hot. Okay, I will let you begin, and then I'll jizz all over him after you're done.
All right, Peter Barton beat out Tom Cruise for the lead role in a movie I don't care about.
What movie?
I don't know.
Oh.
I didn't write it down because I was so pissed. all I read was that he beat out Tom Cruise for a role in this movie. It was
No,
that
it was that show.
It was that
the Matthew Starr show.
It was that show.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's why I was like, oh, it was a big deal show. Tom Cruise would have made it a bigger deal. Why don't you go fuck yourself, you piece of
Actually,
shit?
do you know what? I feel like I disagree because I think that because the show sounds like it was a piece of shit, that Tom Cruise dodged a bullet and his career would have probably gone down the tank.
How dare you beat him out, though?
But no,
Beat him off?
that's true.
Maybe.
Beat him off.
out? Never.
They were probably like, Tom Cruise, you need to fix that tooth. And he was like, I'll do it. And I'll become the biggest fucking actor in the world. And he did.
Well played.
The end.
He's
an
like above.
alien.
He's above humanity.
And I could talk about him all day. The only other thing about PB that I wanted to say,
Peanut butter.
my man PB,
Peter
Is
Barton
that-
and jelly.
Peter Barton and jelly, is that he was
I'll stop
in
now.
Baywatch, Love Boat, and Pacific Blue. Now,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
if I'm not mistaken, those are all water-themed shows.
Oh my god.
Okay.
They were like, let's just get this boy
Whoa.
wet and see what happens.
Oh my god, and then he dies in the shower in this fucking movie.
Oh my god! Whoa.
Yasmin is getting warm.
It's like he holds all the secrets to Atlantis.
He
I
does.
know, right?
Or
Is
some-
he Poseidon?
Is he Aquaman? I begged Shock Stock to bring Peter Barton. I was like,
What'd
can
they
you
say?
please? He still does cons. And I don't know. I think they were like, yeah, okay, we'll look into it. But like, I would die. Like, he still looks good. I don't give a fuck. He still looks good. And I would go there.
Well, it's a
Great.
10-year anniversary coming up, so you should probably try harder and
Yeah, I know,
you can make
right?
it happen. Apparently, Peter Barton was also named one of the 10 sexiest guys
Yes,
in
he
soap
was,
operas
and
and
I agree.
Playgirl.
Fuck. Okay, am I Playgirl?
And Playgirl.
Yeah, because he was like a huge soap opera dude.
Yeah, because he was on like Young and the Restless and also The Bold and the Beautiful. I'm trying to see what other interesting facts.
I got some facts.
Oh, he was kind of cute, wasn't he?
Dude, have you not seen the
But
beautiful...
again, he's only cute because he looks exactly like John Travolta.
Oh god, he's so hot. I can't even get over it. Like, it's
That's
like...
John-
It's the jaw. It's the jaw. He's got like
He's a babe.
he
He's
could
a
cut
babe.
glass with that chin.
He's
Fuck
got
yeah, man.
Big ol' eyeballs, doesn't he?
Okay, so he initially didn't actually want the role of Doug for the movie because he had a bad experience working on Hell Night with Linda Blair. So he stated that he just didn't want to do horror anymore. But Amy Steele was friends with him from working together on that fucking The Powers of Matthew Starr show, and she convinced him to do it. And this is kind of interesting. He has like bad luck with getting hurt on set. So the scene where he dies in Friday the 13th, he actually got his head slammed into the bathroom wall, even though Ted White, good guy Ted White, asked the crew to put a crash pad on the wall.
Yeah.
Being like a stuntman, he's got experience with that. But like fucking Joseph was like, nope, just smash his head.
Yeah, just bonk his head.
Yeah, just like fucking do it. And he also got injured on Matthew Starr. He got burned really badly, and the show actually had to take a break for a whole year.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the show like didn't end up being
I
such
know.
a big
And-
thing because that's
And he also got injured in Hell Night because there's a scene in Hell Night where he gets thrown down the stairs and he actually fucking like really hurt his leg.
wow.
So no wonder he like doesn't want to do horror movies,
Right?
right? But yeah, like so as you said earlier,
Notice how he was never hurt submerged in water, though.
Oh, it's because he's
He's
Poseidon.
Poseidon. It's because he's got his trident. He's Poseidon. But yeah, so as you said earlier, he's done a lot of soap operas. Was voted one of the 10 sexiest guys in soap operas by Playgirl. He was actually accepted into medical school, but he changed his mind and decided to pursue modeling and acting.
Oh, you know what? That's a fact I did not know. But it makes me think like, wow, okay, so if he was accepted into medical school, he's not just a pretty face.
I know, right? That makes him even hotter. God damn it, Peter Barton.
I like it.
But my last fact about him, it's actually pretty interesting. So there's this dude, he's a millionaire. His name is Ray Falk. He's from Illinois. He was just a huge fan of him. And when he died, he bequeathed him and his Hell Night co-star $500,000 each. Because
Isn't
he
that
was such a
crazy?
huge fan of them. He never had any family. He was never married. He never had any kids. And he was just such a huge fan of the movie Hell Night. And Peter Barton and his co-star had never even met this person. And he died and was like, you each get $500,000. And it was actually part of a TLC show called Suddenly Rich.
Interesting.
I loved that show, by the way.
I've never heard of it, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Can you just imagine, like, one day, like, being like, $500,000 gets
somebody
deposited
that
into your
like
account.
you've never met before.
That's the dream, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that like literally just like respect. But like think about it, like because that happened in the mid 2000s. Like somebody that liked his fucking shit from like 30 years ago was like, when I die, take my money. God, I hope that happens to
I know,
me.
right?
I
That
know.
is literally the
It's an
fucking dream.
it's an incredible idea. It's just really strange. Like Hell Night of all movies, this guy was like, I love this fucking
I know,
movie.
right? That's another movie that I find kind of overrated, to be honest. I mean, it's not bad. Like, it takes place, like, during Halloween, and they're at a costume party, and Linda Blair is, like, cool. But, I don't know. I never really,
Maybe he just thought he was hot, and he was like, Peter Barton, I want you to have my money.
Oh my god, I'll just give him my body.
Yeah, take
Just
it.
take my body, Peter
Take
Barton.
it. Does anybody know what he does now? Because I find it interesting that he was on the TLC show Suddenly Rich. And like, here's a weird thing. It's like people think that like just because you're in movies, maybe that you actually are rich, but that doesn't mean
No.
that he's still rich, right?
No. I've seen that show. Wife Swap. The small guy from Austin Powers was in it. And
Troy Vernon or
his
whatever?
place was a fucking dump. It was small. It was like the size of your apartment, Yasmina. So like a normal like 1 or 2 bedroom apartment size. For someone who was in the Austin Powers movies, going to red carpet events, blah, blah, blah. And it was falling a fucking apart. Like, the man was struggling for real. And he was like, it's not because I wasted my money. When you live in a place like Hollywood or wherever, your money doesn't go far at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a weird misconception that people have about people that are like quote unquote celebrities or like musicians even. Like I'm sure that there's lots of people that are like with my situation with the band. There were people that were like, well, why are you crowdfunding, say, the documentary?
Yeah.
You know, aren't you rich?
Like, no.
It's like,
you definitely
I'm
don't know how the
sorry.
music industry
You
works.
have actually no fucking idea, right? It's like, so I wonder about that because, like, obviously Peter Barton, I don't think he acts anymore. I'm not sure what he does, but I just think it's interesting that he was on that show. Because I'm sure
He's just a eternally good-looking man.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's people that would assume that, though. Oh, you're in a movie, you must be rich.
You were in a movie that one time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
30
Still be
fucking years
rich.
ago,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's annoying. You know what else is annoying? How in movies, especially back in the day, PSOs were Coors Banquets on that table.
Yeah, I saw it.
Nice.
I saw it.
How everyone who smokes weed in a movie, like an 80s slasher, gets so high they find everything funny. Maybe when I was 12, I found everything funny when I got high.
Right.
But, like, they were always smoking weed, and they're always like, they're always the ones who never notice anything else going on. I'm
Yeah, I
hyper
know.
alert when I'm stoned. I'm like, what was that?
Oh,
What was
yeah,
that?
I know, right?
Like,
I know.
what have these people making these characters never
That's
smoked
funny that you
a
say that because
joint?
you just made me think of the stoner in part 7, and he opens, like, he's got, like, a gift that was meant for the guy who doesn't show up to his birthday party because
Right.
Jason kills him.
Yes.
And it says personalized penis enlarger, and he
Yeah.
opens the box, and it's a fucking magnifying glass.
I love that part. What is
brilliant.
weed?
Because he's stoned.
Oh, he's stoned. Oh.
Because he's like the stoner in that movie. However, the stoner in Freddy vs. Jason is pretty funny.
Oh, I like that part.
That guy's pretty funny.
I like that whole trippy part.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, it's like, weed is not a psychedelic drug. It does not
that
make you...
zonks you out. No, it makes you more alert.
It does not make you hallucinate. It does not
No,
make you...
it doesn't.
You
Yeah,
know,
no,
like,
I know.
see whoop-de-whoops. Like,
yeah, but back in the
oh,
80s, though,
man.
like, weed was still considered, like, on the same
Yeah, and back in the 80s,
level as, like,
weed
fucking,
was
like,
dank
coke.
as shit. Like, my mom told me, she was like, when in like the 70s and 80s when we were smoking weed, she's like, if we ever smoked the weed that you go smoke now, we would die. Because like the weed that they smoked back then was like nowhere near the potency.
I know, we've
as the weed we're
continued to
smoking
like
now.
crossbreed and it just like
Get
keeps...
that THC up,
Yeah,
up, up.
exactly. And now we've got like 25% THC fucking buds you can smoke and you're like,
I am one with the couch now.
Do you remember? I fucking love the drug-free America commercials from the like 80s. Do you remember the one commercial where like the kids are in school and like the bully like badass guy with the leather jacket like hands like the nerdy kid like some joints? He's like, hey man, like you want to get high? And he's like, no thank you. And he's like, what are you, a chicken? And he's like, I'm not a chicken. You're a turkey. You're a turkey. Do you remember that? No. You don't remember that commercial?
I vaguely remember it. Yeah. Yeah.
The ones I remember were the frying pan. It went,
yeah.
They cracked the egg.
This is your brain
on
on
drugs.
drugs.
Or the wire brain.
The wire brain one. That's yeah, and it's like.
But I think
that was crack.
Coke or crack or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because like weed, like come on, it's not.
It's not even a drug, man.
And here's the other
Literally,
thing.
you can go to the corner store now and buy weed here.
Do you know how many
Canada.
fucking kids? Here's a little PSA for everyone getting ready with your fucking stupid children that you've chose to bring into the world. No one is going to offer your kids drugs. It's not going to happen. People who have drugs want drugs. They don't want to give them away for free. Like, what is wrong with these people who are like, all these commercials with kids that, hey man, you want drugs? No one is giving away drugs for free. I've looked. They're not out there.
Are they like, do they even still do those commercials like now?
They know, but it's all over the radio because they're being like, watch your kids' Halloween candy for drugs. They're going to be putting some weed gummies pills. Is what they're saying now. No one is giving away weed gummies to children.
Yeah, like, fuck
they are saving that shit for themselves.
I know, like I'm paying for this shit. Why would I give it to some
razor
ignorant
blades?
kid?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Drugs? Never.
I know, right? Oh, by the way, Peter Barton's in the shower right now. Oh my god, he's so hot.
Is this when he gets it?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Ted White, Mr. Jason.
Mr. Jason.
Let's talk about Jason. Mr. Jason Voorhees. He was the oldest man to play Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, he was 58.
He was 58.
Yeah.
I literally cannot believe that. That's incredible.
He was offered to play Jason in parts 5 and 6, but he turned them down, and he regretted it later in life. So we talked about him earlier being a stuntman. He started his career as a stuntman, and he has doubled for fucking John Wayne.
That's cool.
Fucking Clark Gable.
That's incredible.
The creature from Black Lagoon.
Yeah, he was the guy. Like
he was a stuntman in Planet of the Apes. Fucking Soylent Green. I did not know. I honestly, and now that I know this stuff, it actually kind of like makes me a little sad because I met him at a Comic-Con one year. I got him to sign my final chapter poster. He was very odd. He had a spittoon. He legit was chewing tobacco and had a fucking spittoon at his signing booth, and I was like, that's weird. But
what is it, the 1880s?
Yeah,
like what the fuck?
I was like, but whatever, I don't care. Like, he's Jason in my second favorite Friday the 13th movie, whatever. And then when I was doing my research on this, I was like, fuck, I wish I knew all this stuff before. Because, like, to me, that's pretty fucking incredible that he doubled for John Wayne and Clark Gable. Like, that's crazy.
It's a pretty big deal.
I can't believe I didn't fucking know that. But aside from his stunt work, he's also acted in some stuff, and he also acted in that movie Demonoid, which I've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
The cover looks amazing. Tron.
Yup.
Tron Funkin' Blows. He's in Romancing the Stone.
Yeah.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh my god, you must.
I
Michael
know.
Douglas. Okay, that was the movie that made me be like, I love Michael Douglas.
Really?
And I think
Okay, I think it's on Prime.
I loved him before, but when I watched it, I was like, okay, Michael Douglas is hot.
He is.
That's where I was like, okay. Because it's...
You kind of changed my mind, because I used to think that he was revolting in Basic Instinct.
Well, but like, in the 90s, like, he, like, was cast as a certain kind of person, but, like, early... Because the Romancing the Stone is, like, 84, I think. Like, he's, like, young, and, like, in the movie, he's kind of, like, kind of funny and endearing in it, and I don't know, when I watched it, I was like, okay, I think I get it now.
Okay, cool.
I get it, so I would recommend it.
Yeah,
And
I
also,
should watch it.
The sequel as well, the end.
Well, Ted White was also in Starman, and I'd have to say that is probably the only John Carpenter movie that I don't like.
Yeah.
I didn't really like Starman. He's also in The Hidden, that Morgan hasn't seen yet.
I know, blah, blah, blah.
Have you seen The Hidden, Megan?
I don't know.
God damn it! Fucking bitches! Watch The Hidden. It's so good. It's Kyle MacLachlan, and he's like a fucking alien, like FBI, like bounty hunter. It's amazing.
Wait, is he the alien?
No,
or
he's the bounty hunter. He's like, but he works for the FBI.
It's like
but
X-Files.
They're like hunting this like alien that like fucking can like use humans. But they can like the aliens like come out of their fucking mouths and they're like.
Well, I guess they kind of are like shells.
Yeah,
Like
it's awesome.
species?
Thinking. No,
but
they're hosts. So they're like they use like humans as hosts. But like the alien is like the slug thing that comes out of their mouths. It's fucking badass.
Species
You guys
isn't
gotta
like that
watch it.
though, right?
No, species.
She's like an alien.
Yeah,
she's
she
just
is
an
an
alien.
alien.
It's just interesting that you mentioned that because that was also that Frank Mancuso Jr. Wham Wham Paramount Son. He produced those movies.
Oh, that makes
That
a
man
lot
is
of
forever
sense.
tainted
I
now
know.
because of what you said about
Wham,
him.
wham.
That really
Ted White was also in X-Files, and but yeah, as we talked about earlier, he had a tumultuous experience working with Joseph on the film, and asked that his name be removed from the credits, and he didn't get along with Corey Feldman at all. They hated each other. In the Crystal Lake Memories
Go
documentary,
figure.
like Corey Feldman is like, he hated me. He was like so mean to me. And then like when Ted White's talking, he was just a little brat. He had like the fucking attitude. And like so at the end of the movie where Corey Feldman is like stabbing Jason, Corey Feldman like apparently pretended that he was actually hacking Ted White.
I gotta take Ted White's side here because when you're dealing with a
Yes.
child actor at the caliber of Corey Feldman, who I have to admit, I have never watched a performance of his and gone, he was a great actor. I always thought he was a bullshit actor. I always thought he looked into the camera. I always thought his lines were delivered. Like, I never thought Corey Feldman should have been this superstar that he was.
I just always thought that he was hot.
Fair enough. Never. No. Gross. But I can... I get it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. But I always thought he was this bullshit little twerp. And I get how an older man can be like, oh, this fucking kid who just has had money his whole life because he's been a star since he was fucking 5.
I think he's pretty good in Lost Boys. He's
Listen,
pretty entertaining.
Ted White was like, motherfucker, I doubled for John Wayne, and
That's
this
what I'm
little piece of
talking
about.
shit
Yeah,
is
I know.
coming in here
Big
calling the
Boone.
shots.
Yeah.
You know what? I do agree with that.
But he was okay, but he was also entertaining in Gremlins. That doesn't mean he was
I
good.
don't even remember
Do you
him
know
in
what I mean?
Gremlins.
That doesn't mean he was like
Yeah.
a good. Just because I don't know, like entertaining is one thing. Like in the Goonies, they were all entertaining, but I don't necessarily think that that was like a movie where I would be like, all those kid actors were phenomenal. You know what I mean? The kid actor in The Sixth Sense, he was a good fucking actor. I don't know his name because
Haley Joel
Haley
Osment?
Joel Osment or
Ooh,
whatever.
He's got the weird face.
He
Yeah.
still looks.
He's
looks
a
like
man
grown-up
baby now.
Baby. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, he's a man baby.
But I like him though because I loved him in Drunk History.
Or like even
That was
Matilda, the chick who played Matilda, she was a great child actor. Like she had some range. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like that girl. But Corey Feldman, I don't know. I just always thought he was kind of high pitched and.
Well, I grew up loving him. Everybody, all the girls in the 80s had like an infatuation with one of the Coreys.
Not
and
me.
it was like, you didn't like any of them?
I was a different kind of kid.
Yes, you were. But like there was always like most girls, excluding Morgan, were like either like Team Corey Haim or Team Feldman, and I was Team Feldman. My best friend like growing up, she was Team Haim.
But Feldman has like a fucking Charlie Sheen face.
You don't think Charlie Sheen's kind of hot?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Like Charlie Sheen in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, dude.
Charlie Sheen looks like one of those apples that you leave out and it goes all wilty.
Okay, but now, like Charlie Sheen in the 80s was fucking hot, dude.
It looks like
You know what's okay? Back to differ. You know, to each his own.
You love the pointy nose guys. Just admit it.
That's
Well,
what
and then
admit
like fucking Crispin Glover. We're not even there yet.
That's one of
We're
the
not
best
even there
things
yet.
I've ever
I know. I know.
You
You
an
like
apple
pointy nose guys. That's
Very
it.
particular. Okay, well, we talked about Corey Feldman in the Lost Boys episode,
Yes.
but that was a couple years ago, so we're just going to do a quick refresh and add a little bit of new information about Corey Feldman. Okay, so I know Corey Feldman is super fucking weird now, but I still love him. I can't help it. I just grew up loving him. And what I like about the character of Tommy Jarvis was that this is the first Friday the 13th film to have a kid as the main final person as opposed to a final girl.
Right.
Like, it was like a little boy instead of a final girl.
Right.
And Tommy Jarvis was actually intended to be the new killer in the following films.
Oh.
So they did intend to end this movie, like the series, with part 4, but then when they started, like, you know, talking about doing a part 5, they were like, let's make Tommy. I actually vividly remember this, like, when the movies came out, that I heard, like, rumors that Tommy Jarvis was gonna be the next Jason. I actually remember fucking reading that shit in Fangoria, like, when I was a kid. And obviously it didn't go that way, but I remember watching part 5 and being so sad that Corey Feldman didn't play him, because it was obviously he was still
It was the fake Tommy, and then
it was
the
that other guy.
fake Tommy.
Yeah, I know. But his first acting gig was when he was 3. He's been acting since he was fucking 3 years old. Like, that's insane.
McDonald's commercial?
That McDonald's commercial.
That
the
sounds
Christmas
like some
commercial.
parents pushing
I
for
know,
some paycheck
but at the same
shit.
time, it's also kind of impressive. Like, I know it's like kind of like, okay, like, child actors are like fucked up, and he is like pretty fucked up right now, like, especially with all like the rape and everything.
Yeah.
But like the fact that you've been like actually working since you were 3 years old, like, that's crazy to me.
It's not a good thing, though.
No.
Like you said, Morgan, like, no child should be making money at 3. That is
Yeah.
not something a child should be doing.
Well, yeah,
He definitely,
especially
he didn't have a normal
parents.
childhood.
Like, that's not
parents
okay.
get fucking weird. Let me tell you, as someone who has been in experiences with parents with underage people, they get weird. And it's like, when you have a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, and they're doing commercials and they're making more money than you could ever imagine in the blink of an eye, what do you think those people are going to do? They're going to slave drive their child, or they're going to, like, take the money and do shit with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I really feel for Corey
However, speaking as someone who has the capacity to have children, here's the thing. He claims he started the Emancipation Proclamation in Hollywood because he emancipated from his family, because, he made X amount of dollars, and at the end of the day, he only had this much remaining. Yeah. Here's what I'm going to fucking tell you. If I push a human body out of my fucking pussy and then move forward to pay for every single meal, every single article of clothing, pay for their education, drive them around to A, B, C, and D, you're fucking right I'm going to take some of their money.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
So the fact that these kid actors, like, my mommy and daddy spent my money, bitch, you ruined your mother's body. Like, you came into the world kids take. We all took as children. Like, all you do is suck the energy and money and life out of other people. And then for them to be like, well, my mommy took my money and I'm mad about it. Oh, you're lucky she didn't take more than your money. Yeah. And I'm not saying that doesn't get abused and pushed to the next level, because obviously it did, and even in his case it did. But, you hear these sob stories about kids like, oh, my mommy, they're spending my money. Well, like, they have rent to pay too, and you're a child. Like, if my child makes $1 million, I'm gonna pay off my debt, my personal debt, with that $1 million, because that is.
Well, especially if the debt has been incurred because of the child.
Well, of course, a mortgage, a car loan.
Yeah.
Like, these are things it takes to raise a child. So I'm sorry if you feel upset that I'm using your money to pay my bills, but you live under my roof, so what do you expect?
Well, some of it, though, is, I don't know what it was like in the 80s, but I do know that now, when there is a situation like that, like, typically you will go to court and they will tell you, all right, parent, you need to take all the money that is made in your child's name and put that into an account, and then they can have access to it when they're 18. When they're of age.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and I don't know if those were rules that were, like, put in place after the fact. Oh, when there was a lot of kids that were, like, getting, like, exploited by their parents or whatever. But it's like, if a child is getting paid for a job, then yeah, that money should go to them. If there's, like, a manager situation, then your parent can take, like, 15 or 20%, which is usually what a manager.
Like a Kardashian situation?
Yeah, exactly. And so where you are talking about, like, with, like, oh yeah, like, I am paying gas money to take this kid to his fucking
he's fine.
rehearsals or whatever. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, as a manager, yeah, you can take a manager fee, but, like, a lot of times the courts are gonna say, like, you have to put money away until they're...
Well, and that's where, he had said, I had X amount of dollars that I made, and then at the end of it, he had, like, I'm really exaggerating here, but let's just say he had, like, $100 remaining type of thing, right?
Yeah.
That, in that case, that is definitely financial abuse and exploitation, like you said.
Yeah.
But, do you know why he initially wanted to be emancipated?
No, I thought it was the money thing. Because he had said...
Because I know, like, Drew Barrymore, she was emancipated when she was, like, fucking 13.
Yep, and she was doing coke, like, as soon as she was emancipated.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it says because he claimed parents were stealing his money because he had made like $4 million, and then at the end he had like 40,000 left in his account.
Yeah.
And that was at an age where he was aware of what money meant. Like, when you're 5, you don't know what the fuck money is.
No, exactly.
But he got to an age where he knew what money meant and would, like, looked in his account, was like, I'm missing $3 million, Mom and Dad. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's interesting that you mentioned how sometimes there's, like, managers involved, because I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the Lost Boys episode, but, like, when he was, like, deep, him and Corey Haim, when they were, like, super deep into the drugs, didn't, like, Brooke McArthur, the other actor from the Lost Boys, like, take the reins and he became his manager? And then he, like, Corey Haim, sorry, I think he ended up managing Corey Haim because he felt bad for him.
Right.
And, like, he let him, like, move in with him or something.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's Dwayne in The Lost Boys, the blonde vampire.
Oh.
So that guy, he actually ended up, like, feeling bad for them, and he was like, let me help you, let me manage you.
Right. Yeah, maybe he saw that they were getting taken advantage of or something.
They definitely were. Like, I think it got to a point in both the Corey's career where, like, they had no control, and they were, like, basically, like, instilled with fear by these people who were, like, exploiting them and raping them.
You know what?
Shit.
There are a lot of, like, fees, though, that are, like, incurred by this type of thing, too. It's like, you know, you have an agent. An agent's gonna take 20% of whatever they get you, too. Right. So it's like, yeah, you make $4 million on your contract, but that $4 million isn't going into your account.
Really.
20% of that is going to the person that got you the gig in the first place. And your manager also takes 20% on top of that, too. So it's like, that's already fucking 40%. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of money.
It is. And if there's other people that are involved, again, there's more money off the top. So it's not as great as it sounds.
Well, he doesn't have to worry because he has a booming musical career right now.
Basically, aside from the fact that, like, in a way it is impressive that he has appeared in over 100 commercials, 50 TV series. Like, he has worked a lot in his entire life, you know what I mean? And, like, he also had a battle with drugs, but he got clean. And then he has his music career. Like, he actually recorded his first album in 1992. So he has 5 albums. Right. And he was on that fucking Dancing on the Ice. He has a biography, that choreography, which I still haven't read. I really want to read it because that shit. I remember when he was on, like, I want to say Ricky Lake or, like, one of those shows where he was, like, because I remember he was wearing this, like, purple shirt and, like, fucking this, like, terrible fucking haircut.
Oh my god.
But you were still like, and that's when he first started, like, actually coming clean and, like, opening up about, like, all the rape that happened in the 80s. So sorry, I think I have it in my notes. He was emancipated when he was 15. He was married 3 times. One of his marriages was officiated by MC Hammer.
Yep.
Yeah, so that happened. And he was actually written into the script of E.T. as Elliot's best friend, but then the script obviously had different drafts and rewrites, and then they kept reducing the role. So Steven Spielberg was like, I'll just give you a role in another movie, which turned out to be Goonies, because he was an executive producer. I love that he wears a Purple Rain shirt in that movie, though. Like, that's like, it just, like, warms my heart. And Gremlins, obviously, I think Steven Spielberg was also a producer on Gremlins as well. And I think Corey Feldman actually states that The Goonies was the most fun movie that he's ever worked on.
I'd say so. Probably just because, like, there's a lot of kids around.
But yeah, like, going back to the Lost Boys, he was almost fired because he would, like, just show up on set, like, high on weed and coke. Yeah. We talked about that on the Lost Boys episode.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't sleep, and he would just show up, like, fucked up. His agent saved his ass, and then I think his dad became his manager, and then after that, there was a fucked up relationship with him and his dad, and then Brooke McArthur decided to step in, and he helped Corey Haim, because Corey Haim's drug addiction was
He
far
was like,
worse
right.
than Corey Feldman. But him and Corey Haim did 7 movies together. The Lost Boys was the first movie that they did together. Both auditioned for the role of Mouth in The Goonies, but Feldman got it. And can you just, like, seriously, like, imagine, like, they were the highest paid teen stars of the 80s.
The Coreys, man. Like, it was a
That
big
shit
deal.
was fucking, yeah, like, they were everywhere. Like, they, remember that commercial, like, Corey Haim, like, you can call Corey Haim?
Yeah, but clearly not.
Yeah, like, they were just, like, pre-recorded. Like, they were just pre-recorded messages. But me and Morgan, we've visited Corey Haim's grave. It's in Vaughan, Ontario. It's not far from Toronto. Corey Feldman did not attend the funeral out of respect because the family wanted it low-key, so he wrote an open letter. It's on his website. And I read it, and I actually visited Corey Feldman's website recently because he was just in Toronto. He was at Fan Expo like a couple weeks ago, and I almost went. I was like, you know what? I should just go because I love him and I want to meet him. But I changed my mind because Fan Expo fucking sucks. It's so expensive, and you basically just sit there and wait in lines for like hours to say hi to someone that you admire and then drive 2 hours home.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, it's not worth it. I would rather see Corey Feldman like play with his shitty
For
band.
sure. Oh, I would pay money for that.
I would definitely
Good
pay
value.
money for that.
Truth Movement.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
I love
God.
that band name. The best album, I was like picking out pieces of information because there's like an abundance of information about him. So like I found it important to mention that my favorite album name from him is Angelic to the Core, but it's a number
two.
to the core.
Girl, have you ever fucking read his Instagram posts,
No.
his captions?
God, I can't.
Oh my God.
can't.
The way that he types is insane. It's insane. It's like he made up a language. It's fucking crazy.
Ooh, I'm
Dude,
curious.
seriously, you gotta go fucking creep Corey Feldman's
I'm gonna.
Instagram and just read one of his captions. You will be, your mind will shift
gonna.
from like confusion to like all of a sudden realization that are you insane, or like are you just doing this as a joke, or like it's so perplexing. I love it. I love it. I love him so much. I don't give a fuck that he's a completely like batshit crazy right now. And yeah, you know what? His band sucks. He's actually can sing. It's the band members that can't fucking play. I'm sorry, they're terrible.
But we've many times watched that live show where he has the girls in the angel costumes. His voice does not sound good in that.
Oh, but what I'm saying is that he's better than them, though.
Oh, okay,
he's
fair
better
enough.
than them, and I don't care. But that one song, that Ascension Millennium, I like that song.
It's
I'm
too
sorry,
funny.
it's so, and like the video was so cute because fucking Sean Astin is in it, and like it's so adorable. Like it's bad, but it's so adorable. But like I love that song. It's so catchy. It's like Ascension Millennium. You got the feeling in your soul. It's like Corey Feldman. You got it. And
Oh my God.
but you know what though? Okay, I will say that yeah, like he's like kind of like, you know, considered like a joke because he's like a little woohoo, but he's a fucking genuinely good human being. So he has a fucking documentary coming out. It's called The Rape of Two Coreys. It was crowdfunded. It's scheduled to be released at the end of this year. And he's like, fucking, I'm calling out all these motherfuckers in Hollywood. I'm calling out their names. I don't give a shit. And he's involved in a lot of nonprofit organizations for victims of child abuse,
That's good. Good for him.
homelessness, breast cancer, children's disease. He donates money to
lot of
all
animal
these
stuff,
fucking like
too.
yes,
Animal
he's
stuff.
yeah, like and like he actually wants like California to change their laws when it comes to certain like aspects of like in the film industry, whereas like if you are mistreated or spoken to, you know, like improperly or like touched or anything like that, like you can like automatically fucking like these people should not get away with it is like the point of it. Like he
course.
like he's like going like he's like taking action, and good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like so
I
he's
agree
like
with that.
he's a weirdo, and you know like
Well, and rightfully so. Like, he's had an interesting life.
But when you think about it, excuse me, talking about
talking about what?
talking about child actors, there aren't any who have been acting since they were children who have a successful adulthood. Sonia Marie you know, like they just wrapped up their whatchamacallit at in Vegas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And on the surface, they seem like the most normal of all children actors.
Yeah.
But they're not, clearly.
No.
But, I mean, you can't think of a single one. I mean, Drew Barrymore, again, like, she had her stint. She's kind of pulled her shit together. But the majority, like, look at the Jacksons. The majority of people who started working, and again, I don't even know if we could say it's like acting, because in our culture, children that young don't work unless it's acting. Mm-hmm. In other cultures, children are out there fucking mining for diamonds at the age of 5. You know what I mean?
Or like in a
sweatshop,
sweatshop, fucking bringing fucking shit home for their parents.
Like child workers in general, I mean, must grow up to be so fucked up. So I mean, I talk a lot of shit on the guy, and like he's not talented, and he's really ugly, and I mean, you know.
Not very good looking now.
But my heart goes out to the guy because, you know, I don't know. It's a tough world.
Mine does
especially living in America. And I'm not saying this as like a biased Canadian, or maybe I am, but growing up in that society too, where it's all about the dollar bill. Yeah. That's literally all it's about, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, the poor guy, I mean.
I know.
For sure.
I do feel bad for him. And I admire him, even though he's, like, off his rocker. I don't.
He's trying.
I actually still like him. I still like him. I can't help it. Oh my god! Do you remember that when he was like, I got stabbed, and it was literally like a fucking.
He got a puncture wound from a man in a car. Is the quote that I took directly
from a man in a car.
Dude, you need to fucking seriously creep his Instagram. Like the way that he types is like psychotic. It's like his own language.
Stabbed?
No.
He was stabbed.
He wasn't stabbed. He was like pricked with like a fucking needle or some shit.
Ew, worse. Gross.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, if the guy was like
a heroin needle?
I don't know.
Ew, why'd you make sex noises?
No.
Because
it's like the shanking noise.
That's what my sex sounds like.
Oh my lord. I do want to say that one child actor that I don't know if he's crazy, but he certainly transitioned into adulthood all right, is Christian Bale.
He was a child actor?
Yeah.
He's not normal though. Isn't he really aggressive? Isn't he a dick
might
to
be.
work with?
He might be, but he's
successful.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Empire of the Sun. He was, I think, maybe like 10 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I heard like on set, he's a real piece of shit.
Yeah, I have heard not great things about him as a person and like to deal with or whatever.
You know what else I don't like about him? He hid his accent from us. The man
Right?
has an accent.
British!
He's British. Bastard.
What a liar.
You never fucking told anyone
Right?
that. Piece of shit, motherfucker. Listen, I don't want to piss him off though.
Wait. Christian Bale's British?
Yes. See, you didn't know.
Watch an interview with
didn't
him.
know that?
He has
Oh my God,
this
you
didn't know
beautiful
that?
British accent.
He's British.
It's lovely.
Whoa, I had no idea.
He's from Stones.
Well, moving on. The movie's over, but I have a couple more things to mention here. A few things. So, we didn't talk about the sister, Kimberly Beck, who plays Trish Jarvis. Yeah. So she actually used to live with Peter Barton. I guarantee they banged.
I was going to say, did they do
Dude,
it?
fuck. Of course they did. How could you live with Peter Barton and not bang him? She isn't a fan of horror movies at all. And she didn't have a great experience making the final chapter. And this is kind of fucking creepy, but she would go for jogs in the forest, and a weirdo would, like, watch her in the woods every time she would, like, go for jogs, and then she kept on getting, like, weird phone calls, like, in the middle of the night.
While the recording was, it was happening, yeah. She had, like, a weird, creepy stalker, but then as soon as the movie was done, it, like, ended.
It stopped.
Yeah.
So she would, like, go for jogs, like, whenever she had, like, free time, and, like, a creep would be, like, watching her in the woods. And then, like, fucking calling her all the fucking time and, like, saying creepy shit. Mm-hmm. So I don't blame her for, like, not wanting to do horror movies. People who are, like, fans of, like, horror movies can go a little extreme. Like, Danielle Harris had, like, a pretty fucking crazy stalker situation, too.
Ugh.
She, like, has a pretty fucking impressive IMDb, man. Like, Kimberly Beck was in fucking an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Yeah. Like, that's crazy. She was in Marnie when she was 8 years old.
Oh, right.
And she was in a movie with Linda Blair called Roller Boogie. And I definitely need it because it's disco-inspired. So I definitely want to watch that.
That sounds good.
And she was in a movie with Michael Biehn called Deadly Intentions.
Was it like 90s though?
I don't know. I just know that you love Michael Biehn. So
I do, but like
nudged at you.
But like after like The Abyss, maybe after Tombstone, then it just kind of went downhill.
She's also in Nightmare at Noon. That movie
is
so good! That movie is so good. Fucking George Kennedy and Wings Hauser, and there's a fucking helicopter chase scene. It's so intense. Like, if you love action movies, watch Nightmare at Noon. It blew my mind.
Threat level midnight. I don't know why that reminded me of. It's not a horror movie?
No, it's not. No.
But it's called Nightmare at Noon?
Yeah, it's an action movie.
How dare you?
How dare you?
No, have you seen it? You've watched it, right, Morgan?
No, I haven't.
Oh my god!
You told me about it, but I knew George Kennedy was in it because I love him.
I can't believe how actiony it was. Like, I just couldn't believe that there was a fucking helicopter chase scene. I was like, what am I watching? My life has changed. She's in a movie with fucking Charles Bronson.
Ooh,
Messenger of Death.
Oh, I have that movie. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, like her IMDb. Like, I did not know that. Like, she was on all these awesome movies with all these awesome actors. She was very briefly in Killing Zoe, which is like one of my favorite fucking like heist movies.
Eric Stoltz.
Yeah, he's pretty hot in that movie.
He's just hot in general.
Yeah, and she was in Independence Day.
Oh.
Yeah. She played a housewife. I don't know what role that is. I haven't seen Independence Day in probably 20
The
years.
housewife in the house that got blown up. Probably.
Like the White House?
Yeah, like the White House.
Right? She's the first housewife.
The first housewife.
But the most impressive fact about her is that she's done enough of her own stunts to gain a stunt performers union card.
Oh,
That
good for her.
is
Good for her,
cool.
man. Good for her.
That's
Fuck
really
yeah.
cool.
She actually is the daughter of somebody famous too, and her stepdad was also famous. Her name was Cindy. Her mom's name was Cindy Robbins, and apparently she was a television actress as well. And her father was somebody called Tommy Leonetti. They actually have a single that they released, a musical single, her and her stepfather.
Really?
Yes. And the song is
Yes.
called Let's Take a Walk. It was released under the name Tommy Leonetti and his daughter Kim. It was recorded while Tommy Leonetti was like working in Australia. So there's a musical number
Have
out
you
there.
heard it? Did you find it?
No, I didn't find it. It sounds like it's going to be not great though, so.
I bet it's not as bad as Dark Crystal.
Nothing could be as bad as that.
Okay, so I can't believe we haven't done a movie that has anything to do with Crispin Glover.
Yeah, that's true.
I haven't dug into him on this podcast the entire time that we have existed.
All right, well, let's dig.
Let's dig. Okay, I fell in love with Crispin Glover at the age of, like, I want to say 6 because of George McFly. Mm-hmm. I just thought that he was the hottest dude I have ever seen in my entire fucking
so
life.
Sweet.
And then it just turned into this,
hello.
like, hello, anybody home? And then it turned into, like, obsession as I grew up because I followed his career and realized how insanely weird he is.
Insanely
and I
insane.
was fucking a weird oddball kid. And I was, like, obsessed with him. Like, I just always loved him growing up. So, Crispin Glover, who plays Jimmy, obviously, like, everybody fucking knows the dance scene. We already talked about that.
He's super cute in that movie.
Oh, God.
Like his, like, blonde hair.
I know.
Yeah,
He's precious.
He's a dead fuck.
Also, I wanted to ask, because you probably would know, did Crispin Glover have a nose job?
I don't think so.
Okay, because, like, in this movie, his nose looks like, I don't know, maybe I haven't seen enough of his side profile, but, like, there's something about his nose that looks different than it does
Really?
now.
Oh, I haven't noticed that. Well, I've got some facts I'd like to talk about, and I also have a personal story. Okay, so he had a couple smaller roles before doing Final Chapter, and his very first, I think, was that one fucking show with Nicolas Cage, The Best of Times.
Yeah.
Where Nicolas Cage is, like, fucking, like, doing kung fu on the beach. So Crispin Glover was also on this, like, it was a pilot, and it never became a show, and it's rather entertaining. You can find it on YouTube. And I always thought that it was funny that Crispin Glover is actually younger than Michael J. Fox, and he plays his dad.
Isn't that strange?
In Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up.
Dude, Crispin Glover is 3 years younger than Michael J. Fox, and he plays his dad. in Back to the Future. So I always
That's just
thought that
because,
was
like,
funny.
Michael J. Fox is, like, a tiny human.
He's
He's
short.
like,
I
in a little
know.
box. Like, he's so small.
You know
and
what's
cute.
weird? This is like has nothing to do with anything, but at the very beginning of Back to the Future, you know what part I always thought that was like super weird? When he is about to like play his guitar and like the scene where you see the guitar pick looks metal. Is it just me or like am I imagining this?
That is a detail that only
I know.
you would
I know.
know,
Like
right?
I play guitar, and like that part always bothered me. I
However,
always, like,
a
there's
metal-
like a part like
A
where
metal
it-
guitar pick wouldn't be, like, that out of the ordinary.
I don't know if I could do that, man. Playing with a metal pick? Mm-hmm. You crazy.
I wouldn't
I would
personally
rather
do it.
die.
I
Crazy.
personally wouldn't, but I've seen them.
Oh, that's weird. I always thought that part was weird. Anyways, you've watched the Back to the Future documentary. I know you know the
Yes.
story
Yep.
about the
Mhm.
lawsuit
Yep.
and
Yep.
everything. I think Megan knows the lawsuit. How Crispin Glover wasn't in the part 2, but they hired that actor to play him without his fucking...
And put makeup on the other guy.
Do you know about this? Okay. I'm pretty sure we've talked about this, right?
Okay, but it's sounding very okay. That was my Joe Pesci, by the way. Thank you very much.
Are you talking to me?
Okay. So they dressed up this actor to look specifically like Crispin
Yeah,
Glover?
they
or
put
to look-
prosthetics on this guy's face to look like Crispin Glover without asking his permission.
However, let's just say I played fucking Esmeralda in this movie, and then they didn't want me to do it again, but they wanted you to do it, so they dressed you up like Esmeralda, but they didn't want the... I don't see how that's
The
a
likeness.
lawsuit.
You own the likeness of your face, though.
I didn't know
so,
that.
okay, this is what happened for all y'all who don't know.
So wait, do we fuck up when we dress up for Halloween? Am I stealing the likeness of someone's face?
You're not getting paid for
Okay.
it.
Maybe I am. What do you know?
If the mask that you're wearing, the company that made the mask is stealing it without using, like, a licensing, then yes.
Yeah.
Like, you're not liable.
What if someone dresses
But the
up
company
like me for
is.
Halloween? What if someone's like, I'm Megan?
You can sue them.
I'm gonna carry
Oh,
on.
Do it.
shit.
You hear that, listeners?
I'm gonna show up for fucking Halloween. I'm like,
Oh my
I'm
god,
Megan.
we should each be each other.
I'm gonna
I've already
draw
thought about
all
it.
over
I
my
literally
arms.
already thought about
Okay,
it.
all right,
Okay,
all
good.
right. But the story with the lawsuit of Back to the Future is like so he sued the producers because in part 2 they used his likeness without his permission and he didn't get paid for it. And so he also didn't get paid for the scenes that they reused from part 1.
Oh, that's not
Because remember in part 2
You have
when
to
he
do
go
that
back,
too.
You have to fucking pay them. So as a result, there are now clauses in the Screen Actors Guild. Like, I find that so fascinating that because of Crispin Glover, these rules exist in the Screen Actors Guild.
Good for
like,
him.
That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, good for him.
So yeah, he is also, you know, I'll talk about like just a very small list of his movies that I admire, but aside from his acting abilities, he's also a musician. So he released an album in 1989 and it's called The Big Problem Does Not Equal the Solution Equals Let It Be. And get this, the
How
album...
pretentious.
Oh, dude, you know he's fucking crazy. The album was recorded by Barnes and Barnes.
really?
Do you know who that is?
Fish heads, roly poly fish heads, fish heads, eat them up, yum. And Bill Paxton
is in the video.
He fucking directed the video too.
Oh shit! I did not know
Oh,
that.
I know that video because you've showed me that video with
Yes.
Bill Paxton.
Dude,
in it.
like that video was like always on, like, what was like Much Music? Okay, so like Canadian MTV was called Much Music, and every New Year's Eve they did like a thing where it was like Cheese Fest or something.
Yeah,
And the soft
fromage.
posted.
And
It
yes,
was
fromage. Yes,
And they always played that fucking Fish Heads video.
Yep.
And then like, and later in life, I realized that it was Bill Paxton that was in the video.
Yep.
And then now I'm like, holy shit, they recorded Crispin Glover's first album.
That's
like,
incredible.
Mind blown. And the album has originals as well as covers, including These Boots Are Made for Walkin' and a
Oh.
Charles Manson song.
Is it
Do you-
garbage
okay,
dump?
I
That's
have
the
a
only one I
question.
know.
I have a question for you, Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't your mom have a Charles Manson album? Because I remember one night at your parents' house in high school, and your mom was like, "I got Charles Manson album. Let's listen to it." And it was like fucking obviously bonkers.
You know what? I'll have to ask her about that because I'm gonna say probably because my mom is fucking insane.
Dude, I'm pretty sure your mom has a Charles Manson album.
Well, there's only one song that I know by Charles Manson, which is Garbage Dump. That's the only song that I know that's like, I know the words to it and it's fucking ridiculous. But I'm pretty sure I know that song because John Araya used to play that song a lot. But
oh, okay. I know your mom has like a tape or something. Like, share like a burnt CD, and like we used to listen to fucking Charles Manson. What?
That's funny.
Oh.
A burnt CD.
Oh, is that what she said?
Yes.
Okay. We gotta wake Megan up.
Those are funny.
I'm texting my mom right now to ask her.
Seriously, text her. I'm pretty sure she has a Charles Manson album. I'm positive it's on like a burnt disc or something. But anyways, so Crispin Glover, he also recorded the Michael Jackson song Ben for the movie Willard. And I love that movie. Oh, I thought you were well, we're still friends. High five. Okay. Yeah.
Because literally the song is actually
and the music video, Crispin is in the music video and he's like singing to a rat. And I remember watching Willard for the first time when I was in high school, and I still lived with my parents, and he has like he controls all of the rats, and Ben is like the bad rat, and then but he has like one rat that's like his little tiny mouse friend, and his name was Socrates. And I remember one time I came home when I lived with my parents. I was probably drinking with you in the bushes or something.
Probably.
And like I came home and there was a fucking mouse that was stuck in a glue trap that my dad set. And I felt so bad, and I like Googled like how to like save it, and I put oil on the glue trap, and I saved the fucking mouse, and I put like a dish of water and some crackers out for him, and I named him Socrates.
No, you did not.
I
God. Did he eat the crackers?
Yeah, because I woke up the next day and the crackers were gone and the mouse was gone.
Oh
so I fucking saved a mouse, and I named him Socrates because of fucking Willard.
Fucking incredible.
Okay, so that's not even like my personal fucking story yet. I haven't even gotten there yet. Okay, so he's also written some books.
He's written a lot of books.
Yeah,
Only a few have been published, but he's written
okay, so the first book that he wrote was when he was 17. And it's, he also has, okay, I have one of his books, and I have the one called Rat Catching. And it's like, it's weird. It's like a constructed book where it's filled with like old novels from like the 19th century that are like now public domain that he reuses and writes over certain excerpts. And then he got into directing in 2005 with a movie called What Is It? And the cast is actors with Down syndrome.
Oh my god, I've seen that movie.
Okay, I've only seen parts of that movie, and that movie is like a mushroom trip.
I know.
Like,
you know what? And let me tell you something. I know.
And
watched
you watched it on mushrooms.
It was not a good idea.
Yeah, I would not think so.
It was pretty weird.
He then did the well, and I guess it almost took him like 10 years to finish that movie, and he funded it with the money that he got from Charlie's Angels. And then he did the sequel, It Is Fine, Everything Is Fine, which was written by the main actor in the film who was born with cerebral palsy.
I remember that guy.
So now I'm going to tell my story. Crispin Glover was, okay, I like, this is like a long time ago. Like, I want to say this is probably like 10 years ago. And when people still used Facebook. And I used to follow Crispin on Facebook. And he would post, like, I'm touring my movie. If you're interested in having your city play my movie, contact your local theater and have them contact me. So what I did was I contacted the TIFF in Toronto, and I emailed them, and I was like, hey, Crispin Glover, he's doing a tour for his movie, and I think you should bring him. They never replied to me, but then like a couple weeks later, they announced that he was coming. And I was like...
They didn't? That's rude. As if they're not going to reply to you, the person
well,
who made it happen.
TIFF, like... But anyways, so I was like, oh my god, so they fucking announced it. And I was so fucking stoked because I was like, I have to fucking meet Crispin Glover. Like, I've loved him since I was like 5.
Yeah.
And then, so I went, and the show was, okay, so he did like a thing before the movie started. And then we sat in the seats, you're sitting in the theater, all of a sudden, darkness emerges. And then the curtains spread open, and Crispin Glover walks out.
Oh my.
And then he just stands there like a soldier in front of a microphone. And then he starts yelling in German.
Oh, good for him.
He
What
just
a
starts
maniac.
yelling in German. And then he was like, I frachelu briklachun. And then we're like, just in awe. And then he's finished. And then everybody claps. And then...
Everybody claps. No one knows what they're clapping.
No, I know. And then he goes into another monologue in English. And then he like reads poetry. So then he was like reading poetry in English. So we were like, hey, at least we can understand what he's saying. But he's so like calm in between the performances. Like he wasn't like the way that you would just like think that he is in real life is exactly how he is in real life. Like I was like, he's just as weird as I imagined him to be. Like I don't know if it's an act, and maybe it is. I don't know. It could be, but it's entertaining regardless.
Yeah.
And
He went to the Nicolas Cage fucking shamanic school of acting.
which I find funny because he's done many projects with Nick Cage. Yeah.
I feel like they may be kindred souls.
Oh, I know. I know. I would love to be in a room with just the two of them. Oh my god. But yeah, so
a
then
penis
like
in this year and a penis in this year, just fucking your brain.
You said it. You said it.
But yeah, and then they played the movie, and the movie is very interesting. The guy with cerebral palsy, like, hires hookers, and then he, like, kills them. And then afterwards, like, Crispin came out and he did a Q&A. And this, okay, so, like, most people that were there were fans, right? Mm-hmm. And then, but this one girl fucking, like, gets the microphone, and she tries to rip him apart. She was like, this is an attack on women and blah blah blah. How do you think like women feel about your movie, because like all the victims are played by women and blah blah blah. And then Crispin just like stood there and like listened. He didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden another girl in the audience like fucking like yelled at her and was like, we've had enough of your bullshit, why don't you shut the fuck up and like sit the fuck down, like why are you even here? We're here because we're fans and blah blah blah. And like everybody were like applauding the girl that told the girl to shut up. Like, and then Crispin just stood there the whole time. Like, he's like, you know, it's okay. Not everybody has to like my movie.
Like he would hear his voice saying,
he was so
my God,
like, yeah, he was
that's
just
so
very
calm.
He was very calm, and it's like the criticism like didn't faze him like whatsoever at all. And then after that, he did a signing. So then I was like, hey, I had to wait in line to go meet him. And he was selling his books. He had the rat catching one and like another one. And I was like, oh my God, it's like gonna happen. I'm gonna meet him. And then I approached his booth and I was like, hello. And he's like, hi, what's your name? And I was like, my name's Yasmina. He's like, how did you hear about this event? And I was like, well, I actually saw your post on Facebook a long time ago, and you told us to reach out to theaters, and I reached out to the TIFF and I asked them to bring you. And he completely was like, oh my God, just wait a minute, just wait here. And he like grabbed his like assistant and was like, get a book for her. And he like went to the store and he grabbed me like the rat catching book, and I brought my River's Edge VHS because that's one of my favorite
awesome
Crispin movies. And I was like, I also have this, and can I also get a photo? And he was like, thank you so much for even like taking the effort into like fucking emailing the TIFF and this. And he signed the book, he signed my VHS, and I got a photo with him, and he was just so genuinely like adoring. Like I couldn't believe that he took the time to get his like assistant to get, and like he was like, just give her what she wants.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I know. I was like, that was like legit one of the finer moments that I will never ever ever forget in my life. Like he was just, I couldn't like I was talking earlier how Judy Aronson, you know, commented on my Instagram, and I like it when actors like take the time to, you know, interact with their fans and stuff, you know. Judy. And yeah, and I was like, I was like so like full of glee, like I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe like that experience. I had such a good experience meeting him. So I'm just going to mention like a little like he obviously has like acted in a lot of movies, but just a few I'm going to mention. So obviously Ruben and Ed is one of his like earlier movies. It's fucking insane, but that's the character that he plays when he's on David Letterman. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm strong.
Yeah.
I can kick.
Where people literally did not understand
because
what he
Ruben
was doing.
and Ed
it
wasn't
didn't come out.
yet.
Yeah, it didn't come out.
Yeah, like it wasn't
for, like,
out
a
yet.
year
And people
after.
like were so confused. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? He's like fucking like kicking David Letterman in the fucking face.
And David Letterman was confused too.
Yeah, everybody was confused. And it's funny because Ruben and Ed came out like much later in life. But River's Edge, have you guys seen it? I know we've talked about it before. Dennis Hopper, Keanu Reeves.
No, I know the movie.
Sky.
I've never seen
Oh,
it.
it's so good. It's so fucking good. And like, I feel like Crispin started his like eccentric abilities in that movie. Like, and when he signed my River's Edge VHS, he told me that that's his favorite movie that he's been in.
Really?
Besides Ruben and Ed. Yeah. But Wild at Heart is another movie that he did with Nicolas Cage, directed by David Lynch. Have you ever seen Wild at Heart?
I have the copy. I still haven't watched it yet.
The scenes with Crispin Glover are fucking hilarious because he's so insane. He's like dressed up as a Santa Claus and he's like freaking out about aliens. And then like there's one part where he's like cause what's her name? Fucking Laura Dern. She's like telling stories of her parents and Crispin is her dad. So it's like a flashback scene and he's like making a sandwich and his wife comes in the kitchen and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm making my lunch. He like freaks the fuck out. It's so ridiculous. And The Doors. So I know you hate The Doors movie. But you have to admit that him as Andy Warhol, like he did such a...
that
No,
movie.
I was gonna say, okay, I don't hate it. It's just like, I feel like it's kind of pretentious. Like,
okay, like Jim Morrison wasn't 100%.
I know, and he was, but like, I don't know. I watch it, and like I watched it like again, sort of recently, but I just feel like it just seems really like I don't know. It's just something like kind of like
egotistical.
But don't all movies have an air of confidence for them to even be made? Like,
well, yes, but it just I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it like. And I know that the people that were in the Doors themselves, the other than Jim Morrison, who was insane, quite obviously, were kind of like, yeah, that's not really what was going on. Like, to me, it just seems very fictitious.
I think if you look at it as just a movie rather than a documentary about the band, it's a great movie.
I can see that.
Oliver
Val
Stone,
Kilmer?
Oliver Stone is non-existent. We're doing a movie podcast, and Oliver Stone is like this director who dropped off the face of the planet, but that was one of his...
Oh, Natural Born Killers.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that movie was like... I mean, like you said, Val Kilmer, like, I would let anything off of his body at
he's
that
beautiful,
point.
yeah.
Oh.
He's
But
still,
the book,
yeah,
though,
he's
like,
good.
but what I like about the Doors movie, because I grew up, when I was a kid, everybody was all the Beatles. I was all about the Doors, and that book, Light My Fire... The movie is based on that book, and it's like word for word. Like, it's very, very precise. So I appreciate the movie based because I've read the book, but also because Val Kilmer like fucking like nails that.
He
role.
does.
But also, like, Crispin Glover does such a good Andy Warhol.
He does. You know what? I think that was one of the highlights for sure.
Yeah. Meg Ryan, though.
Look at the blood.
Oh God, I know. And the Rick James book. Oh my God, there's an insane Jim Morrison story in the Rick James book.
Rick James met him early on.
Yeah.
And was like, what?
But I talked about Willard earlier, and I haven't seen American Gods yet, but I've heard such good things about it.
Oh, are you fucking kidding me? American Gods is sensational.
Okay, so I haven't seen it. I started the book, the Neil Gaiman book, and was like, whoa. Fascinated by it, actually. And a new movie that is actually coming out that Crispin Glover is in, that my friend storyboarded, Lucky Day, which is directed by Roger Avery.
Yes.
Alcohol. But I just want to mention really quickly, I also love Crispin Glover's dad.
Oh my God.
Dude,
he is insane.
Bruce Glover is so cute. Okay, Bruce Glover.
Megan's like, I'm Googling.
Okay,
he's an actor.
Like, adorable.
He's an actor.
Like, he's in Diamonds Are Forever, like the last James Bond movie with Sean Connery, like before Roger Moore took over. And he's in Chinatown, Popcorn. He's in fucking Hider in the House.
I know.
He's in Kill Crazy. I fucking love Kill Crazy.
I'm sensing a trajectory here.
I know.
Yes, it's down.
However, very important, guys. Are you listening? Bruce Glover is in Warlock 2.
Very important.
So
He
very
is.
important.
Yeah.
We're doing a live show in Toronto.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And we're watching
October
Warlock 2.
He looks like a grumpy old alcoholic.
He is.
Look at this photo. Look at how good, like, he's like
Where's mom? Where he looks like when you're a waitress and you come to his table to drop him off his beer, he like squeezes your ass or something.
Right?
You know what I mean? I'm sure.
Yeah.
He looks like an ass squeezer.
That's funny. But yeah, it's funny because like I noticed a couple connections, like weird connections between Crispin and Bruce. And Bruce was in a movie called Final Chapter, like in the 60s.
Oh, interesting.
And he was in Ghost World, and I've seen Ghost World like a million times. He's the guy in the wheelchair that guesses the question at the coffee shop.
Okay.
And his character's name in Ghost World is Feldman. So I thought that was like
Weird.
a weird
That's like a
connection.
strange.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my Crispin story.
Fucking weird. It's incredible. I'm so glad that you got to meet one of your
I have the picture too.
idols.
I still have the picture of
I
me
remember.
and him.
I remember when it was on MySpace.
You guys had MySpace?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That's so cool. I could never figure it out.
Really?
Are you surprised?
No.
I'd like log on and be like beep boop. Like beep, my computer would start smoking. Okay, well, no MySpace for me.
What's happening? Well,
this is a long one.
Now that we've done a Friday the 13th movie, I've started like thinking about I can't wait to do a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah, they're gonna be stacked.
yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
All right, well.
So we've got some stuff coming up. We have our live show in Toronto, and then we're doing Frightmare in the Falls.
Yes.
In Niagara Falls.
Yes, so all you Southern Ontario people come out and buy some tickets and come see us in the flesh.
Northern American.
Yeah, you can drive.
Niagara Falls is like a fucking.
Oh, it's across the way from Buffalo.
Yeah, it's close
from
to
many
Buffalo.
places.
Bring us American snacks.
Yes, please.
Yeah, but not the ones that are like
I want Juji fruits.
tainted by like Trump or
I
whatever.
want my Juji fruits. But yeah, well, this was fun. I love Jason Voorhees and Friday the 13th, and thanks again for listening. As always, we admire all of our followers and people who keep sharing our stories.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
And I guess
love
we'll
doing this.
see you guys
Live.
in Toronto or in Niagara Falls.
Live it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Party on.
Fuck yeah.
Garbage dump, oh garbage dump. Why you call a garbage dump?
Oh fuck, I remember listening to the song with your mom.
Dump, oh garbage dump. Why you call a garbage dump?
Night is on your side. Now there's no place to hide. The fantasies inside. To you, it's just another game. But will the score remain the same when tomorrow you don't?